Up and running. So, alrighty, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And as we previously said, Mr. Booth can't be with us for this part of it. He's not for sure about the regular meeting tonight. We'll just keep him in our prayers. And so we'll have our opening prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. Thank you for the rain that you blessed us with. We ask that you be with Mr. Booth's family and help any situation there. Thank you for all that you do for us and you've given us. Be with us as we make decisions and let us make wise decisions to the best of our ability. Be with our community and keep all the community members and citizens safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, keep staff on their toes. You want to read us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I like to be inclusive. All righty, you want to call our quorum?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Chair. I will go ahead and call the roll. Ms. Bechtel?
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Cookenbuck?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Turman?
Present. I'll
Okay.
take Jerry's spot.
And Mr. Booth is absent. So you have a quorum. Thank you.
All righty. So we'll go into our budget workshop, and I'll turn it over to you or Brian or whoever wants to.
Well, since our speaker is here, if you want to start there, Kim and I have a couple of things that we want to encourage you to make some decisions on if possible today. But that would be maybe after you hear from the sheriff and Dale, if that's right, Mr. Chair.
We'll start with, if you get a chance, I got a VDOT permit for you for my kids' fishing day. We gotta have my kids' fishing day, no matter how the budget goes. The kids are finally getting a chance to have a little bit of normalcy. So I was excited when the state said we can give you some fish. I guess I'll just run off of y'all's lead, whatever questions y'all start with, we'll kind of try to take it from there.
Well, I'll start with Linda. She's.
Okay, thank you. Basically, you know as well as I do, since we both started at about the same time, and how much we have improved the sheriff's office. How many officers did we go from when you started to right now?
I could not tell you on the spot. We've added, let's see, we've added 3 resource officers.
Right?
The one the state just gave us, the extra position the state gave us.
Right.
What
But I
number?
mean, on patrols, when, it used to be what?
What number?
There would, or on shifts, there would be 1 officer,
There were-
sometimes 2.
Correct, sometimes 2. Actually, most of the time there was 2.
Right,
And then we have it now to where there is 3 shifts with 3,
right,
I think is what it is.
right. 3 shifts with
We're
3,
missing the 4th shift, right? Yeah,
which is phenomenal.
yes.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. And
Especially with ECOs today, and I think, where'd we go today, Petersburg? Yes. Had to go to Petersburg today, so one of our officers is all the way out in Petersburg. Hannah's
Yeah.
out in Petersburg on her way
Yeah.
back now, so.
So, I mean, it's just been, I just want you to know how appreciative I've been of your abilities to try and get this department to the level that it's at. I mean, for those of you who know, I have a family member in law enforcement, and it's something that I think about on a daily basis. You know how much I appreciate what we do here in Floyd to keep this community safe, and your commitment to making sure that not only are our citizens safe, but that our officers are safe too, and that's really important. I guess what I'm coming down to is, this is a tight budget year.
Correct,
And we have pretty much done almost everything you've asked for.
correct.
And I am just needing to know why it is so imperative to you to have another full-time officer at the Animal Control Center. I just, I ask the tough questions.
Correct.
You tell people in the community, if there's one person on that board a lot who asks tough questions, it's Supervisor DeVito Cookenbook. But I just need to know. I'm trying to find areas that maybe we can cut back on a little bit. I did not want to sacrifice a school resource officer. You know that I've been with you every step of the way trying to get that fifth one in there. And so that was never something that I wanted to cut. But here we are, is there a little bit of give?
All right, so I'll start off with a couple of things here. One, you mentioned the SRO, and this kind of leads into it. So we have checked on the SHIP grant, okay, which would potentially cost, I think it was, 35 extra if we don't get the grant back, I think is what it was. Tara has called and found, checked. It looks like they will not give us any idea till mid-June.
Okay.
Happy budgeting.
Yeah.
I know that's very helpful. Not. So when it comes to, that me being able to say, hey, by next week I'll know to strike this and that may go. When it comes to the animal control side of it, if you go through and you look, I've kind of laid it out. We continue, when we took over, every person that's been there, there's been some issues that goes kind of sideways and south. So one of the things that we had talked about was, us taking it over, trying to make it more professional and, running things. And I think it has worked out very well. And have been very thankful. And I'm always thankful for what y'all have done in the past in the budget. So if you go to the animal control side of what we had looked at, so what we've got is when you look at our stats, if you look at responses through those papers that I gave you, total calls is basically, please, Dale's going to speak in if I misspeak because this is more kind of his bailiwick, but of course the budget side being mine. So total calls is just anything that kind of comes into animal control. Responses is calls where we go out. So if you kind of see, we can start with 15. There's kind of a curve that kind of goes around. 15, 228 responses. When I say responses, it's face-to-face. This is going out to the property. 16, 4, 4, 6. And then we can kind of go through there. 2020, 437, and then 2021, 922. So we're constantly seeing an increase going, and then for some reason from 20 to 21, it's almost doubled. Actually, it's over doubled. For that. How are we looking on 22? I don't think we're going to hit the 21 numbers, but currently, we've went to a no-kill animal control, which that wasn't the case before. And the only animals that we euthanize are ones that are either injured, too sick to rehabilitate, or we can't adopt them out whether they're biters or what have you. So we're very proud of that side of it. So with the continue of the calls, and currently right now, our animal shelter is only open from 8 to 9 and from 2:30 to 3:30. Other than that, everybody's out. So 2 hours a day, our animal shelter is open. That's it.
Brian, what do you mean by everybody's out?
On call.
On calls?
And these officers are doing their best to get in
Right.
to make sure that they're there. But they're also, when they're trying to adopt out these animals on 2 hours a day, that's when they're also trying to clean. So, you're in the process of trying to clean, you're in the process of trying to, adopt animals out, which they've been, very good to do. Getting them adopted out, we've started using Sheriff's Office Facebook page. Things have been going real well there. So with going from the part-time slot to the full-time slot, what we want to do is increase the doors being open all day long. So you have more of a chance of people dropping dogs off, you have more of a chance of people adopting dogs out. Instead of cutting them loose at, so-and-so's farm or what have you, there's more hours open and with the possibility of people coming by and saying, hey, look, I just can't handle this animal or get too old for this animal or whatever the case may be, to drop these dogs off. So we're looking at trying to produce that service to where we can get out. The face-to-face contacts anymore will continue to grow just because, that's the movement with my community policing. Instead of trying to handle something on the phone and saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, I want these officers going out, meeting the public, trying to help the public understand what the laws are instead of just saying, you need to get a dog tag, or you need to do this, you need to do that. Not only that, one of the things that I had pushed for as being sheriff, even with our patrol officers, are you need to do follow-ups on your calls for service. That's something that is always a difficult thing for law enforcement in general, just because there's always so much going on. But one of the things I push for, and Dale's pushing for with our folks, is that, if you do go out on some type of service call, you need to follow up. If you tell somebody, hey, we saw your dog down the street, they didn't have tags, you need to get tags. That was pretty much the end of it. Now they need to go back and they need to follow up, hey, did you get your tags? Did you do what you're supposed to? Are you feeding the horses? Are you feeding the cattle? Are things getting healthier? All those things, now I'm pushing our animal control folks to go back and make sure that they are complying instead of waiting for the neighbor to call again and they're like, y'all didn't do nothing. The dogs look the same, the cattle look the same, y'all ain't done nothing. So that's been a big push that, hey, you need to get out there and go back and double check these things. So the hours, the face-to-face, they're already running nonstop on those. Not only that, anymore we do not call, if we can help it, if somebody calls and says, hey, there's cattle out on whatever road, 787, our patrolmen handle that. They try to get the cattle in. Now they may call Dale and say, hey, who's got cattle on Sugar Tree Road? So instead of them coming out,
Yeah, right.
instead of them coming out, they say, hey, you need to call Sally Sue, and we
Right.
either call Sally Sue or help Sally Sue get the cattle in. But the patrol folks are doing that. We're not bothering the animal control folks out because they're already doing enough. So in addition with, yes, we're over animal control, but we're trying to spread the workload out with that. And to me, there's enough going on that, with the scenario I gave you about pulling money from here, pulling money from there,
Right.
I'm basically getting rid of a lieutenant spot to try to help cover the funding going into the full-time animal control position. Because to me, I think it's that important to get rid of that lieutenant spot in order to get this full-time civilian in there to keep these doors open. One, I'm an animal lover, okay? So that doesn't help my side of it at all. But that's my big push is that in my mind, what I see these guys and gals doing on the animal control side, to me, it's important enough to have those doors open, and these things are only going to continue to push and get more calls and more calls. We can go over the calls for service for my office, for animal control. Yes, they have some up and downs, but they continue to go up and up and up. And even when Terry was here with Harvey, I don't think any extra money was given to any raises for even Harvey back in the day. So that money, that $15,600 has remained stagnant at least since
Right.
before my time as sheriff. So no money has even increased from that. So even as wages have went up, we haven't asked for any additional funds there. And we're almost to a point to where, we're not going to have anybody applying for any part-time positions because, $15,600 will disappear so fast, it's not even funny at a current wage. And so instead of, trying to say, hey, look, we need 25, 26,000 in that wage, well, if that's the case, if I rotate some funds around, even if y'all brought me up to $25,000 in part-time funds, it'd be the exact same thing as funding a full-time position. And instead of having a part-time person, I've got a full-time, I can open the shelter, I can look at more education, I can send, Sarah to of course, she's the current part-time person, but I could send whoever it is to, even 4-H events for education. I know the Humane Society does quite a things if they're interested. Whoever's in those positions, whether it's the law enforcement side or the civilian side, can go with them on their functions. I mean, there's just so many different community awareness things and getting information out in addition to the assistance of the coverage. That makes sense.
So we're talking Monday through Friday, 8 AM to 5 PM if you get 3 full-time? Close
Correct.
for an hour.
The hours, you know,
An
whether
hour
it's
at
8 to
lunch.
11, you know, we'd have to shut down a little bit for lunch.
Lunch
We'd
and
have
to
to give
clean.
somebody some lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if we're open that long, we
Mm-hmm.
could stop cleaning to assist whoever comes up.
Right.
And then get right back into cleaning. To whereas now, you're trying to clean and trying to help adopt the
Right.
dog out, because you know you gotta run and hit this call just as soon as you
Right.
get done with the person that's in there. You know, and it's not very often right now, but we do miss those open and we do miss those open times because of calls. But it is not that often because they try their hardest to make sure that they are definitely open from those times to those times.
Something that I forgot to mention, that Sheriff Craig, was there has been numerous times that the officers would go out and come back and there'd be a dog tied up to the door.
Wow.
There'd be a box of cats sitting at the door. That someone had thought we were open,
right,
came up and just dropped off and left. We weren't open.
right,
That's true, because when the transfer station gates are open, they have
Right.
full access to our building.
sure.
So,
Okay.
Have you given any consideration to using court-ordered community service hours to help with the cleaning?
yes, we have, but we can't do that when we only have somebody there for 2 hours a
Right, but
day.
To help with when you're
Yeah,
full-time?
nobody wants to come for 45 minutes here or
Right.
45 minutes there, right? And that was actually one thing that he had mentioned to me at that point. We could utilize them for, you know, even if the transfer station had them for a half a day and we had them for a
Right.
half day, or we had them for a
Right.
whole one day. And
So we
right.
we could better utilize those court-ordered hours.
And if we also had somebody there, once COVID is completely done and we get the jail back up and running, what we used to utilize was inmates over there to help clean and to help, you know, paint and maintenance and all sorts of different things over there. Right now, we can't utilize them
Right.
for that. When
So-
we're only open for an hour here and an hour there, what we used to do is, like Jamie would stay all day and he would have them. But there wasn't as many calls as there is now. Then, you know, Chase could run out and pull calls or vice versa.
So being open full-time would actually allow more work to be done than just that one full-time person. Because we could have more
Right.
people doing other things.
Okay.
And, you know, it's kind of, the hours have always been real unique to me. You know, if you're looking at wanting to adopt an animal, you know, who is off at 8 and 9 and then at 2
Yeah.
or 3?
Yeah,
But, you know, I understand where it came from, you know, and I understand that, you know, the required hours. And, but when I adopted my dog from the pound, I had to take a half a day off in order to go, you know, adopt my dog that I have. So that makes it real unique. And they do a great job of getting these adopted out, you know, looking at the photos and, you know, Sarah's the one who's always posting these photos and getting it going. And, you know, the Humane Society is great because if there's something that we have coming in and, you know, we can call them and they're great to assist to try to get some of these animals adopted out. So it seems like since we've utilized Facebook, most of the animals are getting adopted out really quick.
I will compliment you all on that. It is, yeah, it's a very good way of showing animals and how cute they are. And who's ever doing it is doing a good job.
They do good with the
Yeah,
photos,
they
that's for
do.
sure.
Yeah, they do a great job with the photos, and it just brings puts a face, as it were.
And it gives time to, you know, if they're there, it gives times for folks to come walk the animals, play with the animals and see, hey, is this the right fit?
Right.
You know, when I went to adopt my dog there, literally, you know, Jamie's like, all right, you know, need to go out and run a call. So it was one of those things, literally, I had 15 minutes one day to look at the dog, and then I had 15 minutes to come back. We put it on a leash. Literally, we walked out 10 feet, and I was like, yep, this dog's perfect for me. We adopted it, and then there it was. You know, some folks may want to, you know, walk them around a little bit
Right.
and play with them out there, and, you know, different things in the runs. And that gives the ability to have more time for that, to see if it is a good fit, because, and I didn't ask you this question before, do y'all have many dogs return when they get them home and they're like, hey, this ain't working?
It happens, but not very.
Not very often.
Not very often.
Very good.
You know,
That's where if you spend more time with them, let the dog pick you if it wants you or not, you know.
And then they have the follow-up of, did you get the animal spayed and neutered and things like that, that they're supposed to follow up on. So,
I know years ago I adopted two German Shepherd, well, both of them were German Shepherds. I'd tell Virgil, yeah, I want that one. Go up there and he'd put it in my truck and I'd go home and say, yes. Yeah. Now you got the adopted kid, it's easier than you can a dog, you know, so. Anything?
Does the dogs ever return to the owners?
I had one. I did have one.
well, a few times for that, for sure.
So this is straight civilian?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Straight civilian, she's sworn in through the,
Through the animal control?
yeah, she
Yeah.
does the animal
But not-
control ordinances.
That person won't be able to go on to a domestic
Correct,
Right.
with arrest powers and so forth?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
If that was the case, we'd have to push it up to the LE
Right.
side, start and pay.
Do you foresee that as being something that might happen?
Pushing that position to
Yeah.
that, not unless state code changes,
Okay.
so.
I mean, I know you don't come and ask for things that you don't think are necessary. I do understand that.
Right.
You just got to understand that I had to ask some of these questions.
Well, no, and,
Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing you know,
Right.
what I'm supposed to be doing.
And Kalinda and Levi, y'all haven't been here before through one of these, and I can tell you, I am the first one, I'll tell y'all straight up, I understand that this is such a difficult thing to do because you have X amount of dollars. You go X, and I know I keep telling these two the same thing. There's no easy task to it.
No.
And believe you me, if for some reason y'all have to strike certain things in the budget, I don't get upset because I know that y'all have a whole lot more difficult job when it comes to these numbers than I do. So don't, on my part, don't sweat it, but feel free to call me and ask me, hey, I had another, thought, what about this, what about that? It doesn't bother me a bit. That's what I'm here for, and
And not just because it's you, but you've always been open from day one to come down here on a budget and sit at that table and go through item to item with us, and
well, I've always thought it's important. One is y'all are responsible for all the taxpayers' money. And so y'all are the heads of y'all's areas of, is Brian doing the right thing with the money? And if I can return money, y'all know me, I'm either trying to do carryover because I know I got $10,000 worth of bulletproof vest I got, instead of saying, hey, next year I need 10 grand in bulletproof vest, or, whatever the case may be. It's Joe and Linda tell y'all that I always try to look forward. So I go through and I even ask my employees, who's retiring this year? Who's going to retire next year? Who's going to retire?
Right.
And so, we've had some employees walking out with $10, $15, $18,000 checks at retirement. And I haven't had to come back to the board and say, years ago it was, hey, they retired, county, cut a check.
Yeah.
So I try to look forward and say, hey, what can I carry over to cover that money? That way I don't have to ask for additional funds. So that's kind of my thought process on it. But like I said, I understand, nothing easy about it. Nothing easy about it. I'm not gonna stand here and say it ain't. So from y'all's standpoint, nothing easy.
so in other words, when you get this budget approved, then you start working on next year's budget, basically, looking forward to what you can do there.
I'm always trying to keep up with my vest because, those are high dollar. One vest right now is like $2,700 for my TAC team guys. Is it $3,000 yet? And a helmet's $1,000.
It's about 3,500.
Okay. So
That's just the best.
that's just the vest, and the helmet's another however much. So, and of course they go out every 5 years.
Yeah.
So, but yet in my this is my 7th budget with y'all, 6th, 7th budget. I've never had to say, hey, I need, X amount of dollars just for bulletproof vest. So, but anyways, we definitely try to keep it open. And y'all will learn too, there's sometimes that there's kind of expense tickets and that we'll utilize our drug seizure funds. We can't utilize that to come up with a budget by code. We can't say, hey, use this fund, use that
right.
fund to do that. But there are some things that come up that there's no need for me to come back and ask y'all because I can cover it. So that's
Yeah, there's never been any question that you work with us, not against us, and that's what's important. And that's why I didn't have a problem knowing that you would come and help me understand a little bit more and, just ask you, could you go with the part-time or do you really need the full-time?
I can go with whatever y'all give me. We will
Right.
make it work. I
Right.
promise you that, whether it's cutting 5 positions from me, I ain't gonna be happy about it. We'll figure it out, but no, it's, like I said, it's a tough job for y'all to do and,
Yeah.
whatever y'all throw me, whether it's the law enforcement side, animal control side, we will make it work.
So at the moment, the part-time hasn't went through the animal control.
She's
Yeah.
certified, yeah.
So is that the only person in the department that just has the animal control certification?
Chase?
I mean, that doesn't have the law enforcement attached onto it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Sworn duties?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah'd be a good fit for that too, because, I've teased her about get Brian to make her a code enforcement officer.
I mean, so
She
how
don't
many hours
like
does she
it.
work right now?
I don't know what she averages.
32?
I apologize,
It can't be much more than that,
No,
right?
it's probably gonna be more around in the mid-20s by the time she runs out of funds.
I think it's 30.
Better not be. Funding wise, there's no way it's that much.
I can't.
But yeah, we'll look at it. I want to say it's like mid-20s.
Okay.
Some days she'll
When
work.
did that position get approved? How did that
Oh gosh, Harvey's.
part-time position
Harvey's
get
been
created?
there, that was,
That was something from back in?
21 a week hours. Okay, so 21.
She took Harvey's place, right?
yeah, and
She
Harvey
took
was
Harvey's
there
place,
before
and Harvey's been there since.
Virgil, wasn't he?
Well, Harvey was in Montgomery County.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Harvey came when Bucky was there.
Yeah,
Harvey
Bucky,
worked with
right,
Bucky?
Bucky,
Okay,
right.
so he went through quite a few. He went through at least
Yeah.
3 or 4 animal control.
And this was before the sheriff's side took over.
Correct.
Right.
And so,
And see, Harvey's thing was the previous administration and board, I think, kept wanting to give him raises, and he would refuse them
Mhm.
because if he earned more, he had to work less, and he was that dedicated
Right.
to where
right.
he didn't want to
Remember
work
that?
less. He wanted to work the same amount of hours that he worked, so he kept turning down year after year,
Yeah,
saying,
his
no,
raises.
you cannot give me a raise, because then that's less hours that I can work. So like I said, it would be interesting to go back to see where that 15,
Yeah,
how long at 15.6 has been the same, how long it's been stagnant.
yeah,
And you talk about an old school training.
I remember.
from Montgomery County,
Yeah.
yeah.
They went with one Harvey if you didn't want a dancer of it.
Yeah.
I miss Harvey, always, he was good.
Yeah.
Took a
I think
while
that's
to
all
get
the
to know
questions
it.
I've got.
Yes.
Yeah.
You followed
No,
up
I'm
pretty
good.
fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you both.
Anything
Yeah,
else
really
on the other
appreciate
stuff,
it.
or the regular budget? Like I said, we had the sheriff's conference this past week. I was gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and mum's the word on, what the legislative, but they wouldn't even talk about it.
They wouldn't?
On what they're doing
Still don't
raise
call
wise
you
for law enforcement or
under a tree
nothing.
on
But,
Really?
Yeah,
If
the
you have
rumor
rules,
still
you
is
get
the
with
5
your
with the $100 per year service up to 20. But,
Hmm.
it's just tight-lipped, and of course, I guess they reconvened this coming week, or was it this week? It's this coming week, isn't it?
This coming week, yeah. It's crazy times.
It is. But
Crazy
like I said,
times.
on the SRO grant, we'll find out mid-June, after
Good.
y'all have everything probably approved.
Well,
So, but if anything, hopefully that'd be
I
a
know
good,
if it's
that'd be a
out
good
there,
fund right
yeah.
back, to
Yeah, I know if
whatever.
it's out there, you guys will find it.
So,
Is Marie pushing the SRO for you? The school resource for you?
I don't know if I've
mentioned it.
specifically asked her that, but I would assume so.
Yeah,
She's
because
very
I've
pro law
talked to her
enforcement.
about it, yeah.
So I would assume so. I was the resource officer when her son was up there,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So,
at least, yeah, I can't remember what year he went through. But, anyway, yeah, I can't see her not. So,
I mean, you know, she's the squeaky wheel. We try to keep her squeaking as much as we can.
I know she keeps in contact with me. She does a very good
Right.
job at, hey, what are you looking at? What do you need? What's your thoughts on this? And it's been actually a really good pleasure to have somebody that constantly says, hey, what do you think? And, you mind talking to me about this? You mind? So it's been neat to have those phone calls.
Yeah, good.
So normally it was just, hey, I'm coming to town. I'm like, okay. But now it's, hey, I'm trying to stay involved. So that's been really nice.
Yeah, very
So,
good.
all right, well, anything
Thanks,
else?
Sheriff.
gentlemen?
Thanks.
Thank y'all. And good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I just,
Bye, y'all.
I hope I got a little bit past the brush pile and they're still there.
Yeah, I hope so.
I didn't see nobody sitting over there with a toothpick, you know.
See y'all, thank you.
See you, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mike is here. He's, was meeting with Carla and Ladina. So we can go grab him if you'd like us to do that.
If you want to, if you want to interrupt him. So.
And then we'll kind of go from there.
What's this software thing keeps coming up?
I assume you all saw your official ad in the paper this week. So you have met your requirements related to that.
Was that from tomorrow's paper coming out? I
No,
haven't-
this was last week,
I haven't read that.
April
yet.
21st. So I will hand it around if you
Thank
would
you.
like. And so we kept it to the same categories that you all have put in before. So as I warned a couple of y'all, if you get out your calculator and try to total it, it will not come up to the right number because everything is not in there. It is highlights. The statute says a summary. So there was one typo in there so we've re-advertised just the part that is the typo related to that. But otherwise, just wanted you to know, so you have checked that box, and it also has of course, the notice for the hearing tonight for transportation in there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Mike's here. We'll go ahead and listen to his presentation, and
Okay.
then if they've got questions, they can follow up with you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I've got some handouts for everybody, if that's okay. Everyone likes pictures these days. It's a lot interesting for everybody.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Oh, he's got it.
So thank you for letting me come here today and and try to fill you in
Need
on the
one for
latest.
Jerry here.
Oh, yeah, well, actually,
Oh,
Jerry
yeah,
has one.
okay,
Yeah.
Need one for Levi down there.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
here you go. I got one.
No, that's okay. We always leave one at Jerry's spot in case he,
Stack it up for him.
because he probably already knows this.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we've
does.
seen this.
All right, so thank you again for letting me show up. I've got kind of an overview that I put together for the town council. I've changed it a little bit around to make it a little bit more appropriate for some of the things that you guys are interested in, specifically the grant money. I want to bring you up to date on where we are with the applications for the grants and let you know what's going on with that. But just a little quick overview of the PSA, kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's going on. So these pie charts were generated from our accounting system, and they, we put in the new water meters with the first COVID money about a year ago, and they're actually doing quite well. And they're reporting now radio information. We read the meters via wireless radio that we take around. It makes it much more efficient and much faster, and so we've integrated that data with our with our regular account database, Cubic, that we use for billing. And so now we're able to come up with some statistics based on that, which we haven't had previously, and it's pretty interesting when you look at it. And the first pie charts here kind of show you the different accounts, meaning, who is using our water. And this is based upon water statistics because we really don't keep track of the sewer. We assume that if we send you water, it's going to go down the sewer. If you do fill a swimming pool or water your yard, you can call us and we won't charge you for that amount of water. If we know ahead of time that you're going to use it on the lawn or something like that. But otherwise, we assume that all the water we send you will go into the sewer. And so we base our charges based upon the amount of water that we send you in the meter readings. That's why they're so important. So if you look at the different types of accounts between the town and the county, the town has commercial and residential accounts, and the county has commercial, residential, and industrial. So all the industrial activity in the area is in the county, H&V, the schools, nursing homes. Those are some of the biggest users of the water if you look at the top 10 users via our system. And this is the breakdown that you see. And in both instances, residential is the dominant user of water in both the town and the county. And then if you go down to the bottom and you look at the amount of usage, it's very interesting. On the right-hand side, the accounts are split essentially 50-50 between the town and the county, but the usage is 61% in the county versus 39% in the town. So the county is using the most of our water, which makes sense because you have all the industrial activity and the top 10 users are there. But we've never been able to generate this before, and so I just wanted to share it with you. That it's kind of interesting numbers that people would like to know. The second page, we've raised the rates twice this year, and I'll get into the financials here in a minute to bring you up to date, but we did it in order to get our balance sheet in order as required by our loan documents. And but we wanted to know how do our rates compare around the region, and you can see this is water and sewer rates for residential applications. And you can see where Floyd compares with Blacksburg, Carroll County, Christiansburg, Salem, and Roanoke. And we compare quite favorably. Previous to our increase in rates, we were, discounted. We're several dollars less than everybody else. But I think our rates now are pretty much just about where everybody else is at without getting too high. We're very sensitive about raising rates too much, but, we had to get our balance sheet in order. And so I thought you might be interested in that. Mm-hmm. So getting on to the budget, if the third sheet, this is where we are kind of year to date and kind of where the rubber hits the road. Our income as you can see at the top. We're currently at about $700,000 in income. This is water and sewer, top line. We're projecting that by the end of the year, we're going to be at about $924,000 income after raising the rates. Like we talked about, our expense line is going to be close to budget, maybe a little bit over because our repairs are running a little bit higher than normal right now. Giving us gross income, the debt service at $211,000 gives us net income of about $43,000, and that can move, it's not a whole lot of money. It is in the plus column, which is really good. And it says that we've raised the rates enough to cover our expenses, which is what the goals were for this year. And, the magic number, if you drop down this debt service ratio, you can see we started out the year at 0.74. We're going to end up at about 1.2, which we're required to have a debt service ratio of 1.15 per our loans, the magic number in water systems. So right now, it's looking like things are doing well. It looks like we're getting the revenue that we needed in order to satisfy our debt. We do have some reserves. We have $400,000 in unrestricted reserves that we call our catastrophic fund. And, that's in case we have a catastrophe, which could easily happen in a water system, especially if one of our tanks burst or a major water line burst. It could cost us significant amount of money. The interesting thing, well, more than interesting thing about utilities is whenever we have a problem, if it's a big one, it's really a big one. And as you know, a couple years ago, we had that sinkhole right in the middle of Main Street, and nobody knew about it until a car went down in it, and the police had to come out and pull them out of there. So it was not a great thing, but it also almost ended up draining our tank down. And as you remember, we were on a boil notice for several days while we refilled the tank. We had to go down to Slaughter's, and we bought all the chlorine they had so that we could pour it in all the tanks to chlorinate all the tanks. And that was quite an interesting exercise for all of us. But a reminder that it doesn't take much to draw down our water supply. And when we do, everybody is affected in the town, including all the businesses and everybody else. So it's a major impact on where we're going. So our balance sheet looks really good. It's great. I think, like I said, at the end of the year, we're going to satisfy this debt service ratio, so we shouldn't have any problems with our current debt. The one big hole in it, though, is that you'll see we don't have any capital equipment appreciation fund, and that's really kind of the big hole in our whole debt structure. Luckily, this year nobody has liked COVID, and it certainly has taken a lot of lives that we would rather it didn't. But the good thing is that there has been money available, and there's been money now available specifically for the utility systems, and we have appreciated the past assistance that the county has provided for us in helping solve some of our major budget capital problems. And we're looking for that to continue to some extent in the future, because I understand with the infrastructure bill and some of the other bills that they're multi-year kind of things. So we're hoping that that'll continue on. As far as our capital projects go, the first round of ARPA funds, like I said, you guys gave us about $900,000. We are in the middle of lining our sewer line on Main Street, and in fact, in May 9th, you might want to put that on your calendars when the lining guy is going to be back in Floyd, and we're going to be lining Main Street from the stoplight all the way down to the Express Mart, and then from the Express Mart back through the trailer park. So there'll be flaggers on the street all week, so stay away from that area. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of complaints, I'll just tell you right now, because we're going to have to take up half of the road at least, and it'll back up the traffic all week while the trucks are in there doing the lining the sewer line. Sorry, but it's just, maybe we'll put a notice in the paper or something, but I don't know, how much that'll help, but that's when it's gonna happen.
Get VDOT to put up one of their blanket.
Oh, a flashing
message.
sign.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
great idea,
Yeah,
Joe.
those big
Yeah,
signs.
yeah.
that would be fantastic. Okay, yeah, I like that idea. Okay,
Week in advance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
they've had one out by 615 going into Christiansburg for the Rush Creek Bridge. They've had 2 of them,
yeah.
as you know, Chris. And, yeah, that would be really good. May 9th?
May 9th is when we're gonna start, it's Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, it'll just take a week, but you never know. We think we got everything fixed. We had to do these point repairs based upon the camera work that we did a couple of months ago. And I've got some pictures to show you what we found, just so you understand exactly the nature of our system, because it is kind of interesting when you think about it. And so, yeah, if we don't run into any other gotchas, hopefully the lining will go smoothly and we can get that done. We're doing 4,000 lineal feet of pipe with this round of lining. We do have 29,000 lineal feet of concrete pipe in our system, which is 15 to 20 years past its serviceable life. So, there is a possibility of other issues later on down the road. We're looking for the next round of lining projects to keep the system going. Anyway, so the first round of ARPA things are happening. The lining is imminent. The system disinfection and the well 6 filter work, the drawings have been approved by VDOT. We are good to go to bid with that because those would have to be bid. We are going to hold on that though, because we have applied for VDH grant money, and the VDH grant money is for water projects only, and those 2 are water projects. So if you turn to the next page where I talk about the VDH grant funding update, we put 4 projects in that, 4 water projects we submitted for further funding: the system disinfection, well 6 filter, the Route 221 water line, and Sweeney Street water lines, which are 2 that seem to break pretty consistently. At least 2 to 3 times every winter, we get breaks on those. And we put them together and we recosted them and upped them a little bit because of the inflation that is going on right now. So we're going to be putting in a request for about almost $1.5 million there to the granting agencies. There are 3 pots of money that are available now. One is the state revolving fund for drinking water, the bipartisan infrastructure law, and the ARPA plan. This is separate from your ARPA plan too. This is leftover money at the state level. And from what I understand, there's like another $30 million or something available there. So these pots of money are a mixture of loans and grants. And depending upon which, we're going to apply for all of them. And then we're going to see what happens. And that's what our Jessica Littlejohn from Hurt and Profit is actually writing the grants for us. She's got great experience doing this. She's doing it for a couple other districts as well. And so she's in the middle of doing that. The submission date is May 6th. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hold off on the money that you gave us and wait until September. That's when the awards, September, October is when they're thinking about doing the awarding of the grants. We'll get, whatever we get from them. And by the way, we had a conference call with the Department of Health, VDH, about 3 weeks ago, and we explained to them each of our projects, and they felt that they all looked pretty positive on them because we're all shovel ready. We've had these ready for a long time. We just never had the money to do it, and that's exactly the kind of projects they want because they can show immediate results. So we feel pretty good about getting some money. So our plan is to hold on the money that you guys gave us, and then when the grant money gets in, we'll all sit down and go, kind of divvy it up. Because some of these loans, quite honestly, if they give us some loans, we might not want them because, if you look at our balance sheet, we aren't rich. And, whenever you take on more debt, it just means you got 30 or 40 years of debt payments, as I'm sure you're well aware of. And so we don't need to encumber our balance sheet with a whole lot of debt either. And if we can mix and match, we can all win with respect to how it all works out. And we can get the system in good working order. That's what we're hoping to do. So back to the budget page down at the bottom again. We have the second round of ARPA projects that we submitted for June. Those have those 2 water lines that were that we put into the VDH grant proposal, but we've also got updating of 2 pump stations, the nursing home pump station and the slaughter pump station, which have been identified as, past their age, if you will, and we're keeping them running, although we've had to replace one of the pumps in the nursing home pump station. And by the way, the Commerce Park pump station feeds the nursing home pump station, which feeds the main pump station. So they're daisy chained together. Don't ask me why, but that's the way the system was originally designed. There is some logic to it because each of these pump stations have holding tanks. And so if you have a failure, the amount of holding storage capacity that you have gives you time to fix things before you start overflowing literally into the streets. And that's what we're told. But when you think about it, it kind of it might be problematical at some level. So the second round ARPA projects are still on the table, and since we've been doing this lining, we've learned that we haven't smoke tested everything from Route 8 back towards our plant this way, west, and we understand that half of our infiltration is coming from this side of town. So while we've spent a lot of time and money working on the other side of town, we still have this side of town to start doing smoke tests and finding out where the leaks and problems are in the sewer pipe. Like I said, we've got 29,000 feet of concrete pipe under the ground, and as I'll show you in the pictures, it literally, concrete has a 100-year lifetime, and we're close to it. That's assuming you have good things running in your sewer, but in a sewer, you get everything going down there. So this lining is great. We are actually leveraging off of Roanoke's contract. So they have negotiated a nice contract with this company called Prism. It costs us $30 a lineal foot to line it with a 1/2-inch fiberglass liner, which is blown in with compressed air from manhole to manhole, and then it's cured with 3,000 degree steam in 15 minutes, which gives you a good 1/2-inch liner inside your pipes, and then you have the concrete pipe on the outside, and it's good for at least another 50 years, which means none of us will really care about it anymore.
Look
That's
into
the really
that
good
later
news.
on, would you?
That's the really good news. So everything with utilities, I just got to tell you, it's unfortunate. It's all in the ground. It all requires a lot of work to dig it up, and which means it costs a lot of money too at the same time to replace or fix whatever we do. It's just the nature of what it is, and we're all getting to the point where the utilities are aging out, to use that term, which nobody likes, but it's the truth. The concrete is getting old. The terracotta is dwindling in some cases. Terracotta was used in some of the pipes. It cracks very easily. It's very brittle. The joints are coming apart because the mortar they used just had too many freeze-thaw cycles on it. Down on 221, we had a sewer line that was laid on top of the culvert pipe going underneath 221. That's what that little cut is there. Actually, the pipe was sitting on top of it, and then the land sunk on both sides, so the sewer line just kind of cracked just like that on the top. And It's nobody's fault. It's just the land was sinking, and that was the way it was built, which is not the correct way to build it in the beginning. And we're just having to go back and fix it. We fixed it real nice with a 20-foot piece of plastic pipe, and it'll last for hopefully several years. So anyway, so I've given you some pictures of what we found, which is kind of interesting to look at. Everybody enjoys it, so that's why I decided to give you a little video shot here of this. This picture here was the one that right next to Express Mart, there is we have a sewer line that goes down to our main pump station, and somebody built a workshop over the top of our sewer line. And sure enough, that's where the breaks in our sewer system are. As you can see, we have this, we bring in a camera crew, and we actually put a camera down the sewer lines. It's a robot about this long, stainless steel, with 4 big wheels on it and a head, which has a high definition camera and a bunch of LEDs. And it actually goes, you send it down the sewer line, and it sends back these images, but it can, light up the whole sewer line and explore everything for you. So that's why we get these really beautiful pictures. And the other good thing is that you can stand on top of it with this sensor, and you can spot exactly where it is in the ground, so you know exactly where the break is or where the hole in your pipe is, so that when you dig, it's right there. And so you can identify the
This
situation.
cavity on both sides, that's where it washed out.
Yes. Well, it's actually, if you look, Joe, there's actually a 2x8 in the bottom of that.
Yeah, that's what I was
And it's
looking at.
perpendicular to the pipe. And when we got down in it, we actually got this thing opened up. It looks like there were 2 tie beams laying parallel to the pipe in the 2x8. So it looks like when they built the sewer system, they used the 2x8 to hold the pipe up to get the grade right on the pipe, and then they didn't take it out. And so what you see is that the concrete weakened over the years,
Right.
and then it broke both sides of the pipe.
Yep,
I mean, just terrible. I mean, this is a huge break.
yeah.
And if you know that yard, there's a creek about
Oh,
10
yeah.
feet away from the sewer
Yeah.
line with those holes in it, and you gotta believe, yeah, that water's going both ways. And so that was a real interesting break with that 2x8 sitting in the bottom of our pipe. And then also 6 feet down from it, here's this piece of asphalt in the pipe. It's blocking half of the pipe. And you're kind of like, how did a piece of asphalt get in the middle of our sewer line? And we still don't know exactly that, other than it might have gotten in through these breaks
Right.
and just got pushed down there, in a rain event or something like that. But we find all kinds of stuff. This diagram here is a picture at the intersection of Barberry and Wood's-Gap, where we had to dig down 10 feet. And this is 10 feet under the ground, nothing around it. So this is just degradation of the concrete pipe. I mean, that's all it is. You can see it cracked and broken, and it just crumbled. And the concrete just gave out, and there's nothing we could do about it except fix it. The other hole is in another section of the pipe, this other one, and it was just another hole. And then lastly, I gave you a picture of how we fixed the intersection, because it was, we did it on a Saturday, Friday and a Saturday because of school buses there, and we ended up putting a 16-foot piece of 8-inch PVC in the ground, but these 2 holes were only 8 feet apart, and our original hole was only 8 feet, but we had to keep cutting back because we had to cut the pipe 5 times before we could get a good end that wouldn't crumble when we put the plastic boot on it, in order to secure it. So, it's not a bad story. I'm not trying to give you a bunch of bad news. I'm just trying to show you that, this is the case for everybody. After World War II is when all of the large towns started building utility systems funded by the government, and everybody in the New River Valley is in the same boat. Everybody is seeing crumbling pipes. It's just a phenomena that's happening. We can get on top of this and start, cameraing our system and lining it, in which case it'll be good for at least another 50 years, and that's the way to fix it. But this is, just what's happening. And it's, like I said, it's nobody's fault. It's not neglect or anything. It's just concrete giving out, and that's the story that we have. So, but things at the PSA are good. We've, like I said, overall, we've raised the rates to cover our expense line, so we feel really good about that. We got our debt service back in line. The hole we have is in the capital improvements, but with grant money out there and the ARPA money, we've been very fortunate to fix some of the emergency needs that we had and some of the ongoing needs. If we can keep the lining going to keep the sewer system, up to date, find where the problems are on this side of Route 8, I think we'll have solved a lot of the major problems in the sewer end of things. The water lines, they're kind of nip and tuck. We replaced the whole water line on Oxford Street about 1.5 years ago, and we haven't had any breaks there since, which is good. We used to have 2 or 3 breaks on that every year. You could tell by the holes in the road again going down Oxford Street. So that one's been fixed, and so slowly we're trying to address all those problems. But again, it's going to be slow. It's always expensive, and we certainly appreciate everything you guys have done for us.
Do you have any questions or anything? Ron?
Well, I was just gonna say thank you for all the work that you do on this. So you're very dedicated and do a good job at it. So.
Well, we got a good board. Your brother is excellent as well. And Jerry takes an active interest, as Linda does. So it's a great board. We're committed to putting and keeping the whole thing together. So it's working out pretty well.
I do want to kind of talk about the shovel-ready concept. Even before COVID, when we would sit around the table as we were looking at things, one of the things that we all discussed was if we have shovel-ready projects, when grants come available, like I said, this was before COVID, so we were already sort of in the mindset of let's get ourselves to a position so that we can be, because of these grants, like Mike said, they are ready. If you've got a shovel-ready project, they're like, oh yeah, we're ready to give it to you. So that's why it's been so important for us to do that sort of engineering work on the front side. Then all of a sudden COVID happened and we were like, well,
Yeah.
we fell right in line with everything.
Yeah.
Our pump stations, and I don't mean to sort of talk out of turn, but I think for everybody to understand, our pump stations are water projects too, right?
Well, not
What do they
really.
say?
No,
You know?
they're really kind of sewer projects.
Sewer projects,
Yeah, because
okay.
the sewers flow into them, and
Right,
we
right.
pump what's called a force main up.
Even though it's water and it comes out of the water system, it's traditionally not looked at as.
Yeah, it's kind of a sewer thing.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
And some of, yeah, it's used water. So some of the loans too may be forgiven too, is that what we're hearing?
yes, and I guess from what I'm hearing from Jessica is we won't really know until they get down. She described it, they've been given all this money, but they weren't given any more administrative help to
Right.
do it. And that's why they're kind of overloaded right now. And, but she felt like it was a good thing for us because we're ready.
Yeah.
We got everything ready. We got all the approvals now of everything. We don't have anybody standing in our way. We can go right to bidding and we can go right to work. Which is very good. So she feels very comfortable that if they've got to unload this money, they're going to go after people who are ready to spend it first, and then other people who are still in the planning stage or whatever are going to just have to work as best they can. So I'm optimistic. I don't want to try to be too optimistic, but I have to be honest and say that I'm hopeful that we'll get a good chunk of that money and. We can move forward quickly.
And on May 9th, is there any way for us to detour around?
Wow.
I mean, are we going to
You're
think
gonna
about,
need law enforcement then. and-
yeah, I mean,
It's going to be tough.
because you're gonna have school buses coming in the morning and in the afternoon.
I know, it's just, with the
I think
Barberry,
they start in the morning.
Well, they probably do it. The first morning is always slow until they figure out what they've got and getting all the materials and everything. But
Yeah, but then,
Period's about 8:30.
right, but then the road is, yeah.
yeah.
So the
Gonna be
whole
there
week,
for-
yeah, the whole week is gonna be a,
I think that if they do they'll start probably, if we do from Barberry towards the stoplight first, that'll leave Barberry to access lower
right, to go to the
Main
school.
Street and the cars to do that way. And then if we finish that section of it, then we can go do the other section and leave that. I would think that those would, if we chunked it out into
Yeah.
those two sections, and then we'd have to go over on Barberry, and we're gonna be lining the Barberry Woodscap, section 2, and then we gotta go down off 221 by Crenshaw, but that's off the road, and we
Right.
think we can work from the fields there, so we shouldn't have too much of an impact on that.
Just thinking out loud, we might wanna let law enforcement know.
Oh, yeah, and everybody know, it's gonna be, we're gonna have to pop all the manholes again,
Yeah.
and,
Just
so we're
gonna be a
gonna,
night project.
well, unfortunately,
There's,
yeah, typically night projects cost like 2 or 3 times.
right,
So
right.
there is a price to pay for it. Although we do a lot of work at night, to be honest
Oh,
with
yeah.
you. We do
Yeah,
valve
we do.
replacements in the middle of the night when everybody's asleep.
I found a flashlight.
You might see, you might see a backhoe out there, and typically if you
Yeah.
do, it'll be us putting in a new valve because we can turn off a lot of the system then and not disturb anybody. So we still try to do that. But something like this is probably going to have to go during the day.
I had a question, it's not budgetary, it's just, really ain't none of my business, but still, I just noticed on this sewer rates over here on that first page,
Yep,
it jumped to 70,
it did.
77. Why would,
Why does it do that? Because the way we cost things is, and the reason why we have 2 rates down here is we usually give the first 3,000 gallons are a certain amount. And that's to catch, it's to put a minimum cost on everybody. And also for a large percentage of our single households especially, they never use 3,000 gallons a month. So they will fall under the minimum, and it just makes it easier for them and easier for us. And then we charge for every 1,000 gallons above that. And the per 1,000 gallon for sewer is higher. It's actually $15, roughly $15 a thousand. So you can see we're 2,000 gallons over the 3,000. So it's another $30 to the 42, which gets you to the 70. And yes, it is a little bit higher. And in the future, when we raise rates, we might try to, mitigate that a little bit. This past time, we did an across-the-board 10% rise because we needed to generate that amount of revenue.
and on this liner, which I think is a great idea, it works good, but do they run the camera down before they put the liner in there?
Yes, in fact, what they did a couple of months ago, which caused all the issue on Main Street when we had those crazy flaggers out there that you guys, I'm
Right.
sure, heard all about, is they go down and they actually put a high-pressure washer. They jet it first. So they run a hose from manhole to manhole, and they put high-pressure water in there, and they pull the hose back, and it brings everything down, kind of washes out that pipe down to that next manhole. And and then it cleans the pipe, and then you send the camera down there so that you don't have any obstruction. And just to let you know, just on the section from the stoplight down to Barberry, we had to stop at Barberry because we had so much gravel from the road that had accumulated in the pipes that was filling up the manhole. And we also had a 5-gallon bucket of rocks the size of baseballs that we took out of just that section of the line. And you kind of wonder, where do these rocks come from and everything? But when you look at the camera, when you send the camera down there, you can see where the concrete pipes join at those seams. That's what I was talking about. those seams tend to, the mortar breaks away, and then you can see little holes, and that's where the rocks just kind of make their way into the sewer system there. And we had a whole 5-gallon bucket of baseball rocks we took out of there. And then we had to shovel all the gravel. There was probably about 6 or 8 buckets, 5-gallon buckets of gravel in there too that we had to pull out.
Do you know if there's much acid that's in sewer?
Yep.
It's surprising this cement's lasted as long as it has.
You're actually right.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you talk about it not lasting, but with everything that gets dumped down in them, man,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's sort of like when the previous generations years ago, when they built a house, I know y'all run into it. Everybody thought a locust block was gonna last forever because most of the houses are sitting on big locust
Yeah.
blocks. I
Yep.
know my farmhouse was,
yep,
you know.
My
But
barn
before it
was,
stayed
yep.
dry for 50 years, other than the carpenter ants,
yeah,
it stayed solid. But, so that's sort of like the concrete, when they put it in there, that was probably the top of the line back then.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yep.
But they wasn't looking 50 years down the road and all the sewer that's gonna be coming through.
Yeah. I'm sure in 1950, they weren't thinking about us.
No, no,
So
No.
you estimate these around the 50s?
Yeah, right around the 50s. And the Woods Gap line is coming from the elementary school, so it was probably one of the first lines installed in the county, going down to the main pump station there, all the way down Woods Gap to Barbarian over. So I'd like to line that all the way to the schools, just that way we have that secure, which is, we know, a heavy user of everything, and, continue to do it, but that's another 1,000 feet. The lining is $30 a foot. To replace the pipe is at least, well, with inflation, it's probably $150 to $200 a foot to replace the pipe. So you can see, major difference, and also why lining is such a cost-effective way to go. It's,
well, that's one thing about sitting on this board, you learn a lot of stuff that, like I used to, and I'll admit my downfalls. I used to think, well, why in the world is the county paying the Lions portion of it, when it's in the town,
yeah, yeah,
And people would look at me sort of sideways when I was saying that, and then after I see it with my own eyes, I understand now why,
Yeah.
But, a lot of people out here in the county don't see that.
yeah,
And
You're
when
right.
they see county paying for all this waterworks in town, they don't realize that, we get the lion's share of it.
yeah. And it's also, it's really a county thing,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for development, any economic development or industrial development is all of our parks, are served by the PSA system, and you've got to have it nowadays, so.
I've had to eat a lot of crow when I got on this board.
Well, I like it.
You got,
Any help we can get is really
But,
appreciated.
because, some of the things which me and my son has a lot of discussions along these lines, when you get up here and deal with it and see the whole picture,
Yeah.
you think, well, I should have kept my mouth shut back then.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of work, but I think we can win this one. I think,
Yeah.
we stay ahead of it and we keep working at it. We can keep it going. As Linda can tell you, we hit all the water lines very rapidly, and we got to fix them quickly, and they cause us to scurry quite
Yeah.
a lot.
And I just want to say, I, as a member of the PSA board and a member of this board, it is so important for us to keep these lines of communications open. And I just want to thank you, Mike, for
Sure.
coming. And your visual aids and,
Happy to.
all of it is so important. And I don't want to speak for Jerry, but I know he is, I'm sure, very appreciative of your time here
Sure.
today, too.
Yeah,
And-
glad
And
to
your
do it.
time and dedication to the Floyd County PSA. It's very admirable,
Yeah.
and we appreciate all of your efforts.
Thank you. Appreciate
Well,
that.
that's one of the biggest things I've seen happen over the last 2 years, is the transparency and boards coming together and working together, and none of this bickering, backbiting that
That's right.
historically happened in the past.
Yeah,
You know, I like the way things are going now.
Good.
Absolutely,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. I
Yeah.
mean, we appreciate it too. I mean, we all need to be in it. I mean, you guys need to know what's going on, and that's why, we're happy to give you these updates at a regular time and share the information with you. It's, and like I said, it's just where we live, it's the
Right.
community
Yeah,
that we live in, and it's up to us to make it a better place to live for everybody. And so, we all want that, and, so this is just part of it. So,
Well, like I said before, I'm at the age where it's not really so much for me as it is for my kids and grandkids.
yeah, you
Yeah.
bet. That's right.
I don't want them to have to fight some of the battles we've had to fight. So,
Good point.
Yeah.
And when we fix things, we want to fix them right.
There you go, there you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you very much. It's been great being here, and
Thanks, Mike.
again, I appreciate all your support. You guys are great, and we'll be back at you once we get the information on the grant stuff. We'll
Yeah.
all sit down, and we can look at everything and go from there. So, great, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Mike.
We're two. You're our fearless leader in this budget session. Yes.
Yeah, I can fill up my water bottle?
See y'all later.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle.
But it's scary to look at them pictures
It is. Yeah.
and,
Oh, yeah.
and the vibration of traffic is not helping it, especially big trucks vibrating, you had constant vibration, and then Earth's vibration. You know,
That could be a mess if that COVID money.
Do it.
So that could have been a mess without some of that COVID money
You got that right.
for the future.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Good
well
Lord
timed.
works in mysterious ways. Yeah, it's,
So,
Thank you.
well, yes, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, it's kind of wherever you all would like to start. I think we kind of feel like right now we've given you about all that we have from a staff perspective to assist with your budget process. Of course, if you have other questions, we'd be happy to follow those up too. But I think most of the things that you all had asked about at the last meeting were related to these two topics. Beyond that, the one thing, and of course, I note that, we advertised and you have your public hearing on the budget and tax rate. It's coming Thursday evening. The one thing that we would definitely need before we get much further is a decision about the health insurance. So as you recall, we had a discussion about kind of the average now is 85% for employees that participate. But how much what percentage it actually is varies depending which plan that they select. That it's actually a flat amount per month, $549 per month, that the county is contributing to folks who are in the health plan. And I know your options, of course, you could always change the rate, but assuming you stay at 85%, then the option is, do you want to continue to have a flat dollar amount, which is approximately equal to 85%? Or do you, and in all cases, you've been clear about 85% of single employee cost. Just to clarify that, but as you know, you've also had us look at the cost associated with a actual 85% of single, which would be more like $633 for the most expensive plan, to something, less than that for the least expensive plan. So we would just need you all to let us give us some guidance on where to go, because we need to open the open enrollment period, pretty much post haste. And then beyond that,
that that's where I got a sticker, because that was one of the hot topics that Jerry was interested in. And, you know, I don't know when he will be able to be with us. And when's our next budget thing?
Thursday.
Right?
Yeah, Thursday. Well, that's the public hearing
Well-
and everything.
So it's, you definitely have your public hearing for both budget and tax side, Thursday night at 7. We weren't entirely clear if you had picked a time or to do an actual budget workshop
That
before
night.
that night, or if you wanted to do that or not, so that's another time, but
I had kind
again, this is,
of blocked off a little bit of time before that, just
Um,
in my own mind.
I've got to go to River Ridge Dermatology that morning,
Okay.
so I don't know what time I get back from that. Usually don't take them about an hour, you know. Ever since I had a lot of cutting going on,
Right.
I make sure I go see them.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might add for y'all's benefit that the number that's in your budget now kind of assumes things continue the same, but with the 8% increase in cost for the exact same plans.
Right.
So if you want to do something different, either,
gonna-
then it'll move that a little bit.
Yeah, and what did we come up with? $46,240, or was it $61,531?
It was $46,240 would be the number at present for who is enrolled in those plans.
Correct, and what that means is that's how much more it would cost us to be
Not how much
equitable.
more, that would be the total cost. The difference, we, today, okay, if I had to write a check for our insurance today, at the base that Dr. Millsap with the $549 straight down the roll, they
Right,
pay $43,287.
right,
If we were to change it next month, and we go to 85% per plan, so there's
Right.
6 buckets. So for each bucket, it would be 85% of the highest premium.
mhm,
That would be $46,240.
$3,000 some dollars
It'd
a
be
month.
$2,953 difference, so $3,000 a month.
3,000 a month. But, as I understand this, some people might change their plans.
Correct.
Will, if they change their plans, could it be more than 3,000 a month?
Yes.
Right. And the chances of that happening are good.
At least some people doing that.
What did
We've
we
had a
say,
couple
7 to
people.
10 people, possibly?
But yeah, we were basing it on like a 5 to 10, so, yeah.
Right.
So maybe a $10,000.
So maybe about 10% of the employees
Correct.
moving.
So then that number of 2,900 would then be what?
3,000.
4,000.
Yeah, 3,000 would be more like 4.
More like 4, closer to 4. So as opposed to
A month.
36,000.
48,000.
Yeah.
Annual.
Budget.
Right.
And that's not reflected on this,
No.
on our documents.
That is correct.
No.
What's reflected on yours is the flat 8% increase that's gonna happen no matter what.
Right.
So if we continued as we have been, we've been
What?
paying $549 was the employee share per plan, no matter what plan you had.
Does that hold the most people, that plan? What holds the most
It doesn't
employees?
matter because, we're paying $549 no matter what plan you have.
Right.
But if
I'm just saying the average employee, if we
there's
adjusted
Key
this, what will
Advantage
be?
250 and Key Advantage 1,000 holds the primary amount of people who have insurance on the comprehensive side.
And you said 35 have the 250, 31 have the 1,000 plan, and 7, was that
It's, I
right?
believe, 34, 30, 7, then it goes 2, 4, and 2.
Okay.
So 34 people have Key Advantage 250, which would be our highest.
And we pay $549.
We pay 549.
So 30, so if that's adjusted, and 34 people stay in that, they'll reflect, how much will they see a difference in their check?
There you go. So it goes single, dual, and family.
Right.
So the
Like, I know what it will cost the county, but what will the
Yeah.
people see?
So there's two ways of looking at it. I can give you a number of what they're currently paying at the 549, or the number of difference if it increases and we pay 590. So if, for what they know, let's go there, that's if I'm hearing you correctly. So the single individual, which has the most people, at 30. For the Key Advantage 250 plan, the employee portion is $137. Presently, it would go down to $112. The employer, the dual in that same plan, it would go up $25. And the next one would go up $76.
So basically, for all these
For what
years,
they know now.
so basically for all these years, single family, single person on these plans have paid more and are almost, in effect, subsidizing. In a sense. Or maybe that's the wrong word. Yeah, maybe not subsidizing. But they thought they were getting 85% of their plans covered,
Correct,
but they weren't.
correct.
It's
And
more
then
like
some,
what
but some
percent?
people were thinking they were getting 85, but they were really getting 90.
Right,
Some people were getting 85 and really getting 100 plus, because it was
right.
100% of their benefits being paid,
And
and
the,
then we're adding to their
and the
health
lion's
savings.
share of people were,
Right.
Kinda had it on their back.
Presently, the 34
think
people
flat
that
amount.
have Key
Yeah, I do
Advantage
too.
250,
yeah,
we're paying 80%, which were they
Yeah.
were paying.
and we were telling them it was 85, but it really wasn't.
It was an average,
Yeah, I get it.
85% that created the consistent static number.
Right,
It almost seems like it would be most prudent and easiest to understand if we just offered a flat amount for whatever you choose.
it's gonna cost us more,
Right.
but it's fair.
It's
more
easier to
equitable.
understand.
And
A lot
it's more
easy to
equitable.
understand.
Right.
Yeah, it's more equitable.
And people are making then a clear choice
Yeah.
how to spend their money.
It's not like we done that on purpose.
No.
No, and
Not at all.
there is sense to it. There
Right.
is
Right.
a conversation to it of how they extracted 85%. So there is some sense, I think it was just the understanding of how it went through the cost part of it with each plan.
So with $595, is that what we're looking at on
$590?
average? Or $590, okay.
590 is what it would be at 8% increase if we did it within
The
the
old
same
way.
calculation that has been done.
Right.
So 590 is kind of
That would
keeping
be the
it
flat number.
static.
Static flat number for every plan, no matter what.
It seems like that would be easiest and the 590 straight across.
But that's leaving it the same way it is.
So that would not change numbers on the Excel sheet, right?
Correct. It would be 590.
But that-
So it-
But that's not fixing the problem.
Of the 8% cost of,
No, the 8% jump is no matter what we do, because that's
That's
just the
just
price of
insurance.
insurance costs going up. What we're trying to do is make it equitable that everybody is seeing 85% of their insurance premiums covered. As it is now, they haven't been.
I don't know that it's truly fair to pay 85% if somebody chooses to have a less expensive cost to the employer plan, and somebody else chooses the low deductible plan, which is higher cost. So they have to have some skin in the game, how they're choosing to spend the money being offered.
I'm gonna make copies of this, so I think I know Levi likes visual aids, Joe. so-
All right.
Now, it's in
I like
pencil, again, these
Right.
are, you
I
know,
like
If
to
you're-
look.
Is there a pencil for a reason?
If we're paying
they're in
80
pencil for a reason.
If we're paying 85% of a low deductible plan that's gonna cost me less money as the insured every month, of course I'm gonna take it, because you're paying more percentage of it. As opposed to somebody who's taking a high deductible plan that costs the employer less and costs them less every month. Yeah,
And then they're getting money put into their
right.
savings
So you're
account.
saying if it's, I'm seeing it as somebody chooses a one-bedroom apartment versus the penthouse suite, and we're offering to pay 85% of the cost, no matter what it is they choose, the one-bedroom or the penthouse. Where if you offer to say, I'm gonna subsidize your health insurance X amount, choose where you wanna live,
All right.
There you go.
thank you.
So again, these are sketch, pencil sketch passing out,
All right.
not sketch, but,
See if we have one for Jared.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that
Sure, that's all right. I'll get him one in a minute.
The insurance, that's always been a big deal in my own life
Yeah.
with when I did public service jobs, because I mean, that reflected back into to the pay, but I do think it goes a long ways with the employee retention. And
the other question to this, not to complicate, but the other question is making a steadfast decision, and that can be done even if we don't, is do you want to continue, if you look at the high deductible health plan, you see how it says $49 will be put in an employee, and then if you go down to the bottom, it says the $66 will be, okay? That's what's currently being done. So, no, actually, I'm sorry, that's 51 and 68 is currently what is being done. So one of the things would be, do you want to continue that? Monthly, that's a $1,489 a month savings, so there, and the reason I'm expressing this too is there could be a little bit of an offset. If you want to make a decision, $1,489 would be not put towards a health savings plan. Those people would either pay $89 or $79. It used to be 100% plus, so they were getting almost 110% of their health care paid. So that's close to $17,000 a year.
Save, to save.
And those kind of plans are catastrophic. Now, those kind of plans or deductibles are extreme. They choose them to have it, God forbid something were to majorly happen, they would have health care coverage. There is a total of 9 people total, whether they're comprehensive or preventative,
Right.
in those plans.
Right.
Those are the type, if the younger the people, that's the one they choose for.
Yeah.
We have a total of 79 people who currently
Have insurance
have
with us,
insurance.
out of approximately 99 people. 79 out of 99.
And you said 30-some were in which plan?
34 were in the Key Advantage 250. If you look, do you see how I have right there, 30?
Oh, 34.
Yeah, I
I
know,
got
sorry,
you.
it's,
I got you. That's what the pencil.
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
34,
it kind of
and then
wasn't for.
7. This is in
For
the high
occupation.
deductible.
Not for
And then
sharing.
this is in the Key Advantage.
So looking at this, there's not a
That's
lot
preventive.
of family plans.
No, not in preventative.
or really anywhere?
No, there are not.
1, 2, 4?
Yeah.
A lot of
Four
people who have the
family
family plans usually are on,
The other spouse.
because it's
Correct.
the feedback, I should
Yeah.
say. Says it's
Right.
too costly.
Wherever
I
they're.
remember those days.
It's too costly.
Yeah, I negotiated a raise
Yeah.
for mine. I'll tell you that.
So the single.
So 61 out of the 79, 61 out of the 79 people who have insurance are in the comprehensive thousand between single and dual, which means single to married without,
Correct.
or it could mean single and dependent.
But the predominant 53 of them
That is correct,
are in
correct,
the single.
correct.
8 are in the dual, 3 are in the family.
So if we just went with the flat fee, the difference of what they're paying, it would be an $18 difference increase if we went with, if we just increase it to where you see that stack number of 590. So for example, Key Advantage 250, the single employee is paying $137. We just did the 590, the flat fee, they would now pay $155. The next jump is, the next 2 jumps are aggressive. So it actually kind of starts pulling towards helping married and family, in a sense.
Right.
To go to a flat 85%.
You know, the other
Hold
way,
on.
actually.
I sort of wanted to look at this, what's first gonna help the person, and
Right.
then I'll look at the county side of it.
So
But
my question is, how many of these people that are on single plans are actually married with families? And if we increase it to 85%, you know, if we increase what we pay, how many people are going to add their families and end up costing significantly more unexpectedly?
I can't give you that number.
Right.
It would require a crystal ball.
Right, but you say 2/3 of them would,
I don't think
Or
it's
half?
as many as it could be.
Okay.
Because
Right.
the other side's plan is
Are
that much better.
that much
Correct.
That much better.
that much better?
Yes.
Are
I
that
don't
much
think-
better.
I don't think the differences of what we're talking about.
Agreed. Are gonna
At
swing.
my household, it would not have changed
Right.
to be like, hey, well, let's just move the family plan on this.
Mhm.
But it might would put a few more bucks in my pocket as an employee.
Correct.
So for example, again, on the
So this
Key
pencil,
Advantage
Yeah.
250,
yeah,
if we leave it at the 590, they've gone from 720 presently to 788.
This is the preventive or the comprehensive?
Comprehensive up top,
Comprehensive.
so they're presently paying 720. It would jump to 788. If we went to the 85% per plan, per single and distributed through,
yeah,
it would be 745.
right. Right,
Now currently they're paying 720.
right. So no matter what, this increase of 8% is gonna hit everybody hard.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would say
so that's the
100%.
thing. But yeah, I mean, that's the given.
Right.
What we're saying is if we pay everybody equitably, 85%, not an average of things, then it's 112, 745, 1379.
That's correct.
Correct.
The only 2 buckets that it would not affect, they would see no difference, 8% is the high deductible single on both comprehensive and preventative.
Right.
And that is a total of 7 employees.
I
So
agree,
your
I hate
penciled
having-
in numbers on the employer, that is reflective of 85%.
That is reflective of the single premium at 85%.
I agree with you, I hate
So we're
not
still
having
getting a
Jerry here.
static number
Mhm.
within
Right.
each bucket.
Right, right.
But best practice would be that you would take the highest premium within that subset and whatever percent you would extract from it.
How quick do we need to settle on this? Quick,
I mean, could we do Thursday?
because I was looking at, if Jerry makes it tonight, maybe after our regular meeting, we could stay over a few minutes and run it by him. If not, can everybody come in at like 5 on Thursday?
Yeah.
Whatever you tell us to do.
Yeah. Or 4, I can do 4.
No, I'm not a slave
I can
driver.
do 4.
4 o'clock, you wanna do 4 o'clock?
That way we have a little bit of
It's gonna
cushion.
be pushing me to get here at 5.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
Thank you, sir.
They're wanting to meet with Jerry here to decide this
Oh, for 4
healthcare.
o'clock, okay?
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
5.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's gonna be
5 o'clock on
pushing me
Thursday.
to get here at 4.
Right.
5 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah. I'll make an adjustment, but I think I can do it.
Yeah, I'll put it down.
You can always phone it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us what.
Let me change that in my day planner, I won't be here.
Yeah. 5 o'clock.
It would and that would have to be a decision on it's twofold. One, we have to do open enrollment.
Right,
2, it gives me an opportunity to, if it is switched.
Yeah.
It's a tedious task to ensure that I give you guys accurate numbers, because it's not one number going all the way down. I
Yeah.
have to go through who has what plan,
right.
put what plant, how much, and it's gonna change the numbers. So, that would be just another benefit. But
Mhm.
really, the goal is the open enrollment, we have to get it out,
Yeah,
we have to get it out. And on the payroll side, make sure that we enter, because it's a manual, singular data entry into Brighton.
right,
Currently.
gotcha.
Can I complicate matters? I'm good at this. What if we come to a consensus? Pretty much. Then maybe Jerry could contact y'all the next day or so. You explain to him. If he
Yeah.
goes wrong with us, then you got your answer and you can go.
You can go, yeah.
That'd be great, that'd be great.
Then we could go back to 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. I mean Thursday
Let
night.
us know. Make sure you let us know.
Are you consensus giving everybody any thoughts? I mean, I,
Because I feel like the next day or two, if he don't make it tonight, he'll be able to call one of y'all and talk to you.
mean,
So what's y'all's preference?
I just want to make sure I understand.
yeah.
The handwritten number, that is reflective of 85%,
Equally
down through all these lines, right?
across the board.
With the handwritten number,
The pencil drawn
yes, under
number.
the employer,
On the
under the
employer
employer
side, so-
column, it's 85% of the highest premium, which represents the single, okay? The
Yes.
highest premium, it's 85%, which is then attributed to each
Right.
one of those within that plan.
And that would
So
be
each
the way it would
subcategory.
be, that would be the way to phrase that to a new employee.
That's
Exactly
correct.
what you just said.
That's correct.
Right, okay. So the 30 people that's in the single Key Advantage 250,
Mhm.
the county now would be paying $633
Mhm.
instead of the $5.9.
Correct. As well as 633 for the dual, as well as 633 for the family.
Correct. So everybody sees an increase
And
in
then,
the employer paying more.
and then That was the 40, or that was the 36, that was the 1,900 a month adjustment for the 85%,
2,000, we said.
or 2,000 a month,
2,900, 2,953, yeah.
yeah,
29.
which is not reflective on
Our
our
budget.
sheets here. Okay.
So if I might, under the key advantage 1,000, the employer contribution actually goes down, is that correct? From 590 to 557.
At the 1,000, not at the 250.
Yes, but it's just, Mr. Cox had said something about it, I wanted to clarify that it goes, so the employer
There'll be-
contribution goes up for the 250 and the high, well, yeah, for the 250. But
Yes.
for the 1,000
Yeah.
and the high deductible,
It goes down.
it goes down.
Because those were skewed to start with what we were
Correct.
paying. So this is,
So
the
30
changes
people
to
would
bring
see
it
a
Right.
in line.
paycheck increase.
So that in the
23
past,
people
that we
would
were
not.
paying 90 and 100% in
Right.
those buckets.
Right.
It makes it equitable.
The other thing, the other conversation that Angie and I was speaking about, you know, the other part is when people may have a feeling about the 8% increase, we can also come back with, like, let's say if they're a family member, it's really, you know, just over, you're getting, because of everything that the board, or if that's the decision, it's really just over 6% increase.
Mhm.
So overall, it's an 8% increase. But there's going to be some plans that are not going to incur that entire,
Mm-hmm.
I know that that doesn't always feel good when it goes up, it goes up,
Mhm.
you know?
But it didn't, we're taking part of that increase
That is,
on us.
Correct.
we're incurring part of the increase.
Right.
Well, can we take a break?
Joe vanished. I think he's on the phone.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think you have
okay.
to take the call.
Do we want to put it on the blanket mention?
I think so.
Yeah,
Break
maybe
for a
we'll,
minute?
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just,
Sure.
yeah, all right.
So write
Yeah,
down your.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll help.
30.
No, it'll help. Yeah,
Yeah, so 34 it will help. 30 it will
yeah.
not.
So Kim, when you redo these numbers,
Yeah, I know.
is this penciled on the far left? That's the total cost of the plan?
Yes,
Okay. Per month?
yes.
What do you think, Dave?
So, but some of these are likely to jump in here.
Yeah, probably. Well, maybe. Yeah, I mean, making an average like that tends to skew people a certain way, but is it fair? And that's what it amounts to. On the backs of some. And it's hard for us to calculate how much it could go up on the county.
So,
Well, the person that's probably in Key Advantage 1,000 right now, let's just look at employee, single, they're probably in there because they're only paying $65 a month.
they're in there because they're paying $55 presently.
$55 a month, and then their deductible is whatever it is. So,
Usually it coincides with the number, so if it's Key Advantage 1,000, it's a $1,000 deductible.
and then the 250 be $250.
Right.
Now, on the dual, the 6 people, they're
Right.
presently paying $568.
Where do you see that?
Oh, the Key Advantage 1,000?
Yeah, where do you see 568? I see 622.
Presently, you don't have that, presently,
Ah.
today.
Okay. Yeah, let's go down some of those numbers.
I forget the dog was down there. I thought that was Chris.
I look startled, didn't I? Thought you were gonna see my lunch.
The biggest adjustment is going to be for the high deductible single people who have been accustomed to getting 100% of they pay zero, nothing. So
Which is
that's,
5 people,
which is really
or
7.
7 people.
Well, 9 if we count.
7.
What about the high deductible plan preventative dental?
There's 2 in there and 5 in the other.
Oh, gotcha.
See,
Oh, right,
the
7.
single?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Single,
Yeah.
right.
It's 9 total for that bucket, yes, but 100% is 7.
So, yeah, I mean, I would probably then jump ship from the Key Advantage 1,000 single to the Key Advantage single 250.
Correct.
So
So
that's
that'd be
23
about
people.
23 people, I mean, because you're gonna go from, the only reason you was in it to begin with is because you was only paying $65. Now you're gonna be paying
Or
$112.
it could be the other way, where the high deductible plans, the $81, if I'm gonna pay it, I must pay $98. But
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
they'll jump to the,
possibly.
right.
If they saved the difference over the course of a year, they'd actually be in a better position.
You know how many people save
You know,
though? People don't save.
It'd be a difference of $85 a month for us if that was a switch.
It's a rare breed that save. It really
Right.
is. Look at credit card
Yep.
debt in the United States of America. It's a
Oh, yeah.
rare breed that saves. Because once you get it back in your
Well.
paycheck, it's just like,
It's gone.
let's go out to dinner.
Just goes back in the economy.
Yeah, let's put it back in the economy. But I mean, that's what stimulus checks were all about. It was to stimulate the economy. I'm a saver.
We think.
I'm waiting on y'all.
So if not, then we go back to, just so we're clear, then we go back to the single, again, 80, 90, 100.
Well,
Which would represent the 590. That's in there.
I'm leaning more towards the 85% of the highest premium single
Per
of
plan.
what's in the pencil drafted
Right.
numbers.
To become more equitable
Yes.
across the board. Costs the county more, but
But some of the, at least 34 folks would see a difference in their paychecks. To the good.
to the good, because they've been shouldering the rest. Which doesn't seem fair.
And remember, you
Fine.
also have just
It's
to
a huge amount of
also,
money.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of money.
It is.
just to also bundle it. You have the decision of the health savings plan, if you.
Yeah, you wouldn't be
don't.
putting that
Actually,
in
no,
there.
you don't, you wouldn't be putting that in.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You'd
So
see
right
that as a-
there,
it's a
like I
savings.
said, 1489 a month times 12 is a $17,800 difference.
That comes
It just
back,
kind of comes back in.
comes back into us.
Right.
So,
It's a low deductible. Young guy comes up here, young lady comes up here to want to work here. That's all part of the recruitment package to me,
Right,
what's going to keep people here.
right. Yeah,
But
so it's actually a $28,000 difference. No. that's
No,
not
it's
accurate.
2,800.
No,
No.
no.
math on the fly.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes, sorry.
I know, it's okay. Don't be sorry.
Oh, 20, there it is. That's what I was looking for. 2953 times 12 equals 35. That's the difference. It would be an increase of 35,436 if we made that move. However, if I subtract the 17,868, it would really be an increase of 17,568
say that one more time.
annually. Yeah. So the difference between how we're paying it now, and if we went to the 85% per premium, per single, the difference is $2,953 a month.
Mhm.
So times that by 12, it's $35,436 a year increase annually.
Yeah.
However, if we're no longer contributing to the health savings plan, which is a total of $17,868,
And it's only going to add to our budget 17,568.
Right,
if that's,
Doing it 85% across the board.
across the board, equitably, everybody,
which is $1,400 a month, $1,464, excuse me.
right.
And then that's 7 people that's got that HSA accounts.
Which we no longer be contributing to.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes, yeah. So,
So anything that was contributed remains.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
theirs.
Right.
It's
Yeah, it's
not
theirs.
ours,
Right.
it's theirs.
right,
So they still have something for this year.
their deductible.
Huh?
They have it for their deductibles.
Correct.
Right. And this has been going on, depending on who these people could be, they could have a pretty hefty savings account. It
Yes.
goes year after year, it doesn't just disappear.
Mhm.
So they have a health savings account that could be substantial.
Correct. But there are, that would be probably, everybody would be, hit with an increase.
We're already gonna all be hit with an increase.
Correct. They would probably be the most, because they had a zero deductible.
Right,
I mean, they had a zero payment
yeah,
whatsoever. They
There's
didn't have.
nothing taken out of
Zero.
it.
yeah, nothing.
So
That
that
would
would be probably, and that's something that Angie and I,
But those 7 people will probably abandon
That plan.
that plan.
If they, yeah,
I don't see, I mean, it'd be interesting, but, maybe not, I don't know.
or the other thing is that, do I wanna pay $79 and not $81?
Yeah, right.
Get rid of the comprehensive dental, and now I have 5 people that moved down,
Yeah.
which is a $2 savings on this side, so.
But we don't know how many Key Advantage 1000s on either of those plans are gonna jump into the Key Advantage 250.
Right.
Costing us more.
Yeah.
So even though on the surface right now, we're spending $17,568 more, we could be,
I mean, what would the math look like if all 79 people jumped into the?
well, not 79, oh.
Well, I mean, if everybody joined the,
Key Advantage 250.
yeah, the Key Advantage 250 single,
Well, if you have 23 people
and that,
that are in the Key 1000 go to the Key 250,
yeah,
it would be $14,559. And then it would be a $1,700 difference, $1,750 difference.
A month.
A month?
additional a month.
If all
So-
23 people that are in Key single,
Yeah,
1,000 go from
Up to the 250.
up to the 250. So if I take the 23, right, times 633, goes out to 14,559. However, I would have to subtract the 12,811 that we would presently pay in the 1,000 bucket, right?
Right.
yeah.
So if I do that, it would be $1,748.
Added to the 17,568
A year.
a year.
So.
So
another-
now we're up to 18, 19.
And that would be a decision,
Yes, what would the
if they
total
wanna
yearly
pay
be?
14, it would cost the employee, see, so here's what the contemplation would be. I don't foresee that, and I understand what you're looking at, for sure, because I would if I would, but presently, the Key Advantage 1,000 people are paying $55. It's already jumping to 98.
Yeah.
They don't wanna jump, I would assume, they don't wanna jump another 14.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
sometimes
see what
that,
I'm saying?
I got
yeah, oh,
That
absolutely.
makes a difference. They were already getting, a fairly,
Decent.
challenged
Right.
jump.
Yeah.
So I
I got
don't,
you. Yeah, it makes sense.
right?
I don't know that I agree. I don't know that we're gonna see that many jump.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some shuffling, I do. But I don't think it's gonna be as egregious as,
Yeah,
Shocking.
because of the scenarios.
yeah, because of the 8% that everybody's feeling to begin
Because the
with.
8%,
Yeah.
what they're paying now and if we transition.
And then again, we're looking to make things equitable. If we go with this. It's an equitable way of doing things. I'm for equitable.
I'm for that 85%. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same
Right,
thing.
equitable,
Yeah.
85.
So,
I think we can make adjustments to get this covered.
so if Jerry's in agreement, you got your answers.
So, and just to be clear, so it's 85% of the
Single.
single for each of the 3 plans. So that amount will be different.
Correct.
And it will no longer be a flat amount for all
Yes,
employees.
correct.
Okay. Just want to be sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
If he don't make it tonight, then I'll give one of y'all a call.
Okay. Thank you.
So that, what does that do to our bottom line on our budget?
It increases it. Well, yeah, it'll increase it a bit. 17,000.
568.
Correct.
So we need still to make some significant adjustments downward in our budget expenditures.
Yes.
So.
And I'm sure you'll be reflecting that.
in her
Yes, I will.
update.
Okay.
Right now, what are we at? 37,175? Okay.
Would it be prudent for us to reconsider the travel and lodging budget for us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Oh, I'm fine with that.
I'm good with removing our travel, convention, lodging budget, keeping our mileage. So we're
So taking
removing,
our 4,000 out again?
yes.
Yep.
I think if we're going to be cutting, we need to also be prudent about, even though it's a little bit, it makes a difference.
Yep.
I don't, on my printed copy, I don't have my lines, I'm sorry.
It's actually all the way up at the top.
Yeah.
It's,
Line
travel,
11.
Right,
convention, and
line
lodging.
10 and 11, yeah.
Yeah, 10 and 11.
yeah.
We'll leave the mileage
Right,
So that's 4,000.
and zero back to
right.
where we were.
So we were at, so you want to put it back to 2,000
Is that where we were?
For mileage,
for my,
Mileage is 2,000.
Yeah, now it's 2,000 for mileage. And we had in the budget for travel, convention, and lodging 2,
correct,
and we increased it to 4.
correct. So we're leaving mileage at 2 and going back to travel and lodging to 2. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think we should remove it.
Oh, okay.
Or leave the lodging at 2 and remove the mileage.
Just somehow, we only have $2,000 to spend for our convention travel mileage thing.
Yeah,
Puts
well,
to 6.
Right,
I'd say take the 2 for the travel, convention, and lodging, and we pay for our own mileage.
whatever's easiest.
We could collapse those.
Combine
I
all
was
of that
just
into
gonna
one
say,
Yeah,
I
line?
just
can- I can
collapse
also
it.
make-
Yeah,
Well-
right.
And thank you, because it's about description and expenditure
Yeah,
line
right,
item.
okay.
You know, we could just put, education, I don't know,
Yeah,
you
so
know,
from
or training,
6
Right.
training, education.
So from 6, we're gonna go to 2.
Correct,
There you go, that's the bottom line.
all right.
Consensus.
You good with that?
You good, Joe?
Yeah, wait a minute.
All right.
Um,
Oh, so you doing away with which one?
What eventually is gonna happen is there's only gonna be one line item, you know how it has mileage and then travel,
Right,
convention,
yeah.
and lodging? We're gonna make one, there's gonna be $2,000 in it so it could be mileage, it could be travel, it could be
A room,
dues and
right,
fees,
whatever.
it could be a room, whatever it may
So
be,
we're
but
just
it's
getting rid of the
$2,000.
4,000?
Huh?
And we're just getting rid of
Right.
4,000? Okay, all
That will
right,
increase.
okay.
Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. Because, most of us pay our mileage anyway.
Yeah.
It's not worth the hassle of filling out the
I'd,
paperwork.
to be honest with you, I would suggest, line 38, government affairs for this year, maybe,
Delay that?
delay that.
Okay.
Line 38,
Marie March has her guy, Caleb, who's looking out, and I think if we just keep in contact with Caleb, he's keeping track of what's going on in
Okay.
Richmond for us. He's,
You got him coming up, Dennis?
yeah,
Because they love to do that.
yeah. Caleb's a good guy.
And then,
So you don't take the whole line out?
Yep.
yeah.
Just leave the line there, but put it at 0 so it's
Yeah,
in our
put it at
budget for
zero,
next
that
year.
it's- Yeah, I mean, I think it's something to think about, and I appreciate that, and depending on what happens with the delegates, I think we also should, if and when things happen, we need to stay abreast of everyone,
Right.
you know, both our, how it all is gonna transpire, since we do not know, and we will not know.
Right.
We need to kind of keep abreast of how that's gonna happen and plug in whoever is in Caleb's position moving forward. I think
Right.
that's really important,
Right.
and I think it's on us to do that.
On line 59, concise assessment system maintenance. Is that something that Munis will take care of in the future? No?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
I don't know what that is.
That's a GIS.
Oh, okay.
Please.
Line 59.
Concise, sorry, if I may, concise CAMA is for the real estate
yeah,
for the
real
Commissioner of Revenue.
Okay, okay,
But it is a local program that we host here on the server.
okay.
So
But it's out of our assessors.
I do believe it is out of a company in Roanoke. Steve Finch owns Concise CAMA.
Okay.
And these computer technical support lines in these various departments, do you take over that, or is this your stuff broken, split apart?
So if I may, that is for people that have vendor-specific
Okay.
support within their departments. I believe a good example of that is the commissioner, they have to pay for DMV tech support.
Okay.
Treasurer, same thing.
Treasurer, yeah.
Like what line would that be on in the treasurer's? Since I'm there.
It's in different departments.
Right, I
Yeah.
understand, but what are we looking at? Is it equipment repairs and maintenance? What?
I don't know off the top of my
Oh,
head.
okay,
I think
okay,
hers
okay.
might be data processing,
Got it.
some of that, that's,
The
yeah.
I
DMV
see.
stops is
Yeah,
the-
and then she
Got it.
has
Processing.
DMV stops, yeah.
Right, okay.
It just gets, in going through this again. We were sent home to go through.
Absolutely.
You just paid for the insurance, the difference.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
There
did.
you go.
Yep,
That is
trying.
true.
yep.
Get it.
Let's see.
We already put a pause on the polling stations,
Polling,
right?
Correct.
Yes.
And,
The sheriff's, let's see, where are we for him? Way down.
Sheriff
Line-
is number 227, I'm sorry.
No, I
thought you were
found
looking
it.
at- Okay.
Line
Alright.
228, the data entry specialist part-time. Is this something that we can use ACES people, or is this confidential information that needs to be? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like that's maybe, he started that last year? Does that seem?
yeah, he did.
That's a lot of money for data entry.
Mhm. We could always give him half or 2/3.
Now, which one you in?
It's line 228 under the sheriff law
Oh, yeah,
enforcement
see
data
that.
entry specialist part-time.
It was to help out with, when people come in and they're doing the reports and they're entering a lot of the data.
Right?
Yeah, it's a part-time position.
I have conflict. I know it all goes back and the money always goes back and touches somebody, but I have a hard time cutting something that reflects back to a person.
I don't, I'm looking at, we need to be very prudent about everybody's money, and I think that I have a great advantage not having all those personal ties, that I can look at it very disconnected. Because it's so not, I mean, it's so easy to keep people employed because we know them.
I don't
But
believe
it's-
that enters into any of our negotiations. It's not a personal thing,
Exactly.
you know. That there,
I
Brian,
just don't know
Yeah.
what this job is, so I'm
Right, right.
asking what this job
but
is.
Brian, I was trying to remember what he said. He had something else to justify that. I don't know if it had to do with this
Let's look.
upcoming
Would you-
medical training that they're doing.
I don't think that, if I'm
Yeah, go
hearing you
ahead.
correctly, I don't think that that was that E911, which,
No.
is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, but
Yeah, I don't
think it
think
was.
that was that.
Hold on.
But, let me see.
I was trying to remember, there's so many darn things go through my brain at one time, it's hard to keep it up, but,
I mean, if you remember, Linda, that it was something that Sheriff Craig needed.
Well, I mean, he wanted it. It was to just, because it takes a lot of time to do all the
Right.
data entry. I mean, it's very time consuming. I'm trying to get out.
But it's a position that was filled and being utilized there, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a position that's being filled and is being utilized, correct. And I hear what you're saying too. Are you getting out and looking at his requests? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why having the notebooks were helpful sometimes.
But as,
If I want to get out.
as
of
transparent as
Right.
his
Right.
budget
Just-
is, I don't
yes.
believe he would requested it a year back or years before if it wasn't needed.
Well, he
but
just got it.
last year.
Yeah, he just got it last year. He had been pushing for it because it was something that was needed.
Right. If
So,
it's,
you know what, what I'm hearing is I think we all need a little bit more.
I mean, if it's somebody who's entering data so the deputies can be out on the streets, that's fine. That's a fine investment. I just didn't know if it was transitioning records over or.
no, I tell you, there's a world of paperwork comes
Right.
through that sheriff's office, and
Okay.
especially from dispatch and, I don't know if they help upload the
Well,
IVRs and everything too.
And then just the record retention that you have to keep afterwards. But
Right.
That's, fine.
I think-
I'm just asking questions.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I
So-
think that Alicia Akers, even though she's a lieutenant, she's doing a lot of the paperwork right now. I mean, she can't even get out of the office, but you can, ask him and,
Does it say anything in his?
It doesn't, not that I saw. I don't think anything reflected that, and if you look, there hadn't been any change from fiscal year 22, excuse me.
Right.
So I don't think there was any explanation
Right,
of change because there hasn't been any.
okay. I'm good with that. I just,
I sent him a note
Okay.
just to,
Right.
yeah, just help us remember what this was about.
Yeah, that's what I think.
and then can we go to line 462 under recreation? We talked about, it's the jerseys,
Uniforms.
uniforms, yeah.
Mhm.
Can,
462.
Yeah, we had talked about uniforms,
right,
cutting that one.
So if I might, I did have Jacob send me kind of a write-up about justifying
Going from
some of that
10.
change. And I think a lot of it has been related to the jerseys and things, is everything, all of those have grown substantially more expensive.
can,
And
can
related,
they get not as, I mean, how basic are these uniform parts that they're getting?
well, they're getting ones that are comparable to the other children in the same league. So we play most things on a regional level.
Okay.
Mhm.
So at this point, most of the kids are kind of
Keeping up
Wearing
with the
this.
Montgomery counties.
well,
Okay,
so just, but I did ask him
Right.
about it, and it has been, I will say, the jerseys have been really, really challenging. So we've been talking about if there's a better way to handle it.
so it's
just
not like when
supply
I was a
chain
kid
stuff.
where I turned in my uniform at the end of every year.
Remember that?
Yep, and if I played on the same team for 3 years, I got the same uniform.
Yeah, same thing my son
Right.
did. And he's only 27 this year. They turned in their uniforms.
one question on the
On
playground.
travel.
I'm getting off topic here, but, on the playground equipment,
Yes, sir.
do they have a brochure or anything that's got pictures of what kind of equipment we're getting?
Yeah, that was the original,
Yeah.
there was one that was in his original application, but whatever is on special kind of changes every month.
Right.
So we can, I can pull that one up. from the first
Reason
couple
I
times.
was asking, I don't think I'm overstepping my authority by doing this, but, Duxbury Community Center has got a really pretty playground. And, you know, it's all community supported. They get their money from community donations and grants and stuff like that. I mean, it is some really nice equipment and looks like it's very substantial. And then the wellness center, if I could ever get a hold of Barry Hicks and talk to him. What I want to do is try to find out somebody at the community center that I can talk to and say, hey, we like y'all's equipment. Do you mind telling me how much it cost you and where you got it from? And the same way with the wellness center.
So what was the first place you mentioned, sir? No, right.
Duxbury
Duxbury.
Community Center. It used to be Duxbury Rescue Building, but when they closed it, the community took it over.
Okay.
You know, they have family reunions and singings and, you know, just different stuff for the community.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just happened to stop at the post office the other day and it jumped out at me, you know, that they had put that in. Because there's a lot of people around my neighborhood that uses like our church equipment or something like that, which we don't mind. But, you know, if they get a wire that up there, it's gonna really increase that up there. So, and I mean, it's really, it don't look high-tech, but I mean, it's
Nice.
substantial and, you know, of course, with everybody and his brother using it, it has to be. You know, but, I mean, I want this fixed down here, but
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the dollar value, like doing the, you know.
Well, I think, yeah, we all are. What about if we go back to 462 and bring it in at 15,000? What if
And do we-
we say 4,000?
What's been spent
Now,
on that
where you
so
at?
far this year?
The last round of hats alone were almost $2,000 for one sport.
If we should go back to shirts and
There's not a
skins.
lot of participation
Yeah.
there. Yeah, there's not
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
that's allowed in the
monetary
league.
participation with, I guess, the way it used to be with families that
Sponsors and
purchases
stuff.
or sponsors or things of that nature, where there are some minor donations that go towards it, so.
Well, I know they can't even get people to coach,
Yep.
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, which one are you on? We jumping
462.
too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went
Yeah.
back to Calinda's 462.
Yeah, jerseys and uniforms.
Let's see, if I might to add a little bit more to this. It says, the football jerseys as an example, are not fancy, but cost around $26 per blank jersey. And some of the surrounding areas spend more, like $60 to $70 per blank. And then, of course, numbering and lettering is on top of that. So it costs between $3 and $4 per jersey for basic letter work. Basketball jerseys were $22 per child. Baseball, softball will be $26 per child. And again, with baseball this year, just for ballpark, we've got over 300 kids in baseball, so.
Wow.
So we have spent,
I can't imagine that. You know, I'm having a hard time
It's,
wrapping my head
it's
around that number.
$10,000.
It is challenging.
Yeah.
The year-to-date,
If I
16,000.
might, the other thing that he had mentioned is, you know, most of our,
300 for one sport, 300 times
Mm-hmm.
$26, $7,500, that's just for one sport.
So that would take care of middle school sports.
So he's already spent $16,010.73 on uniforms.
I
Year to
figured,
date.
are they going around checking prices with different vendors?
Yeah, he's,
yeah, he's been doing that. In fact, I sent him back because the hats that we'd originally tried to order didn't work out, and they told us at the last minute, and so I sent him back to work through the guy who had promised them, and So he took another couple $100 off the order.
So he's absolutely doing his due diligence to save
Mhm.
us where he can.
Yeah, and we've even talked about and had him talk to some folks in the community to see, if we tried to work it out, could we front them some money for them to get the right equipment to be able to at least do it in the county and we'd have more control, but so far, no takers. But we've even tried to do that.
All right.
But I understand that it feels like it's a lot, but it just fortunately we also have a fair number of.
So we're looking at
Kids.
19, staying with it.
The capital outlay purchase for equipment,
Yeah,
where's that? Line 480.
yeah.
Is that for the kids' equipment or that's not part of the boys' basketball? It's not part of that?
Yeah, I think that's for like football type equipment and those kind of things, and those are supposed to come back. We had, I think, about 6 people that did not turn theirs
Okay.
back in this year
Right.
and
That's the
didn't
other
pay.
struggle.
Right.
We had, $1,675 of equipment not returned.
Not
So do
returned.
are they keeping
5
track
families?
of, so?
Mails,
Right.
mailings, we've mailed, letters, we've called,
Are those children allowed to return to the,
no,
okay, so that's being taken care of.
in that fashion.
But $16,000 worth of equipment is.
1,600.
1,600,
Yeah,
okay, 1,600.
it's like 200 and change per, there happen to be, I believe, football equipment. Yeah, I believe.
Football.
Shoulder pads,
Yeah, and the
So it was like-
helmets and all that.
helmets.
200 and change per.
Yeah, close to $300.
Yeah. Tried.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, he
I
had a
wish
long
there
list
was-
of other ways we could make money in recreation if you wanted, if we could figure out how to get more time to do that. There- Some of the other, programs have more kind of parks-related things, like programming for, canoeing or, different kind of things that maybe generate a little more money.
Right.
So I think over time, that's, assuming y'all are amenable, that's more the direction he would like to go, is start adding more of those things that tend to have less upfront expenditure, and also appeal to a larger group of the community.
Right.
And then we build upon it like a community.
If we can stay in recreation on line 439 on the compensation, I understand that part of that is with a master's degree, but how much of that jump? Are we are we giving more hours to some of the part-time people? How many more?
They're both staying at part-time, but they're going up, I think, maybe 5 hours average a week. But what we will be doing a little bit with the person that's in the office is we're gonna try to balance her hours a little bit more so she is in more time when more is needed, and then other times of the year, certain months, she won't work as much. So it won't be, this much every week, and she's amenable to that.
Okay.
And is the director the only one with benefits?
Yes.
Okay, because that's a big jump in benefit expense too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's a sizable raise. What is his, okay.
Yeah, and of course, that would be tied to finishing the degree and, those kind of things. So if for some reason he didn't graduate next month, that wouldn't, he wouldn't be getting the same kind of increase, because it's a recognition of him. I don't foresee that he wouldn't, but just so you know, that's.
Okay.
Earlier, we talked about collapsing things, so when we put out your final document, I think Jacob, Kim, and myself would all be very happy if we could collapse these different categories that are all $500 each into this is the total amount available, and then we can have him roll out how it got expended, but that way it's not.
Right.
If he
Because all
has
those
fewer in one sport and more in a different sport, then he doesn't have to do some, yeah.
Yeah. Then he doesn't have to keep turning in paperwork to move money
Right.
around. It'll
Mhm.
just all be together.
Right.
I will say, he's so far, this year and last year, he's done pretty good at coming in.
16,000.
Yeah, coming in under budget. Last year, he came in 16,000 under. And I think he ended up spending some of that to actually put gravel in the parking lot up there, which is really not necessarily his budget to cover, but it was important for the park. And this year, he's currently on track to also finish
Under,
a little under.
nice.
On this topic, perhaps we can remember as a mental note, all of us, when we're having departments coming in under budget and we're looking at our budget stabilization fund, maybe we can kind of talk about that a little bit more and, you know, maybe it might be a good idea with staff and all of us to.
Instead of putting gravel in the parking lot to maybe, yeah.
But I mean, gravel in the parking
Right,
lot's
just as an
important,
example.
but
Yes.
that
But
would be
put
an
it in the right
example.
departments,
Right,
yeah.
and maybe thinking of our budget stabilization fund from all aspects.
Right.
Just a thought.
The line 536, the EDA, they have a lot of maintenance expenses,
Yeah, we talked
mowing
about
and
that,
such, yeah. And we have other expenses like snow, other contractor mowing. At some point, would it be prudent to research having a county employee who's doing this, a new county employee position, rather than, I don't know, to do the the plowing of the parking lots?
And the mowing.
Right,
I designate Chris.
okay.
I mean, I had thought
It's a bit outside of my wheelhouse. Good with keyboard.
his wheelhouse is outside, we gotta get him a keyboard mower. We can
do
get him a
that.
keyboard mower.
Well, as a boy told me one time, if you don't have a stern wheel on it, don't talk to me.
Well,
So
It-
with
you know, it is-
Chris, it's, if you don't have a keyboard on it, just
Don't
forget
talk
about
to
it.
him.
So,
it is interesting because I'm going to give a little bit of historical thoughts. When we had thought about our maintenance position, that part of the maintenance position might have been to do some mowing, but it seems like that has been expanded.
May I? The position that there is an additional line item and a budget, an amount, we didn't, revisit that. But there has been an additional amount that where there was the two positions in the maintenance category, one of which would be what Dan is doing now, which is dual, and then another pure part-time under maintenance.
I mean, these expenses,
Was there, we have it in the budget?
Let me look.
these expenses are enough to cover a full-time person.
I mean, part of the challenge when we've kicked it around, but we have
Right.
not really sat down
Pursued
and
it.
tried to pursue it. One of the things that does come up is, of course, we don't have a lot of really great mowing equipment.
Right.
So just the first
deal with
year,
the
we would have
equipment.
to build in, spend in some money in the street to buy some nice equipment. And so that's been something that, there hasn't been really enough at the end of the years for some of these things to, out of an individual department. But to
Right.
y'all's point, maybe we could have Mark and Dan look at, okay, what if we actually bought a nice mower and some other things and had somebody.
So what are we going to bid out our lawn mowing again?
we did that, that's what I was getting ready to say. We bid out this 2 or 3 years ago, and we never could get nobody to put in a bid because they're so busy.
Yeah.
you know, with your others, that they don't want to fool with us.
But are we
Aren't we
saying that?
required to put stuff out to bid?
Well, we
gonna
last
be a
year,
certain
to
amount.
the chairman's point, last year, we did go out and we had to bid, we went out 3 times
Right.
to get the one bid back from Rakestraw.
Right,
Mhm.
And so
but
that's
you had
what we're
also,
continuing right now. We had some other folks that have shown some interest, but we haven't gone back out to do that yet.
I have it set for the first meeting next month. I already have the printouts of what you.
Well, we gotta put out a bid and everything. It
No, I know,
takes-
but I have it
yeah.
to discuss at the.
okay,
Good,
Gotcha.
okay, very
The
good.
documentation you used last year.
Mhm.
I printed it out.
okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Because if we have more people that are doing these kinds of things now,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah, and I have only 2 people who sent emails.
so the Innovation Center maintenance, is that where you were going with this?
Commerce Center maintenance, if I may.
Mhm.
In recent years, we've used $5,000 Commerce Center maintenance budget for special projects like the timber cutting on the Phase 2 land, maintenance expenses of the Dreaming Creek property when we briefly owned it. This year, we are able to use for its original intended purposes of improving the appearance of the Commerce Center and having it be attractive. Just want to make sure
Is that,
yeah, making sure I'm looking
right,
at the correct one, I apologize.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
539, line
Yeah,
539.
Sorry about that. Because it's EDA and it was 30,000, correct?
No, we're
no,
looking at the
there's a
5
couple of them
Yeah,
for
so
EDA.
the 5,000 one was the one that we had started looking at, not
Right.
Okay, so in fiscal
539.
year, we'd like to do that along Pioneer Way and Pond One, which have grown up terribly, to do planting between Growth Center and Thomas Industrial to have Building 1 and the mini sites show better, which are requesting $5,000 this year.
So basically,
Trees.
basically this is curb appeal.
For a building that we're building.
Right. Is it something that is a nice or a need in tight budget years?
Well, if they was looking for a factory, I think the better it looks, the more apt we are to get somebody. I mean,
I'm trying to think of what a tree
if we have a
costs.
building sitting on a dirt
Depends on
lot,
the size.
they ain't gonna be too
Yeah.
interested in it, you know.
Very true.
I mean, if we were to put white pine or Leland cypress, 6 to 7's probably running wholesale 100. You might need 1, 2. Yeah, I mean, it adds up quick,
Mhm,
and then to
mhm.
plant them, I don't
And
think
water.
5,000 is out of the question.
Okay.
But then the 30,000 online, what was that line?
543.
543 is the door locks. And,
It was significant parking, if I may, sorry. Significant parking lot deterioration, which really needs asphalt patching, asphalt seal coating, crack filling, and striping, camera security system. We need video surveillance of Innovation Center access points and hallways, given the high number of people working there, and the fact that the building does not have on-site manager, as county staff managers remotely. And she's quoted them out separately. So the first one was $18,700, the second quote was $8,380. And audio-visual, we have been using the old county projector and screen in
right.
the multi-purpose room at the Innovation Center for events like Floyd C4, but the projector doesn't work with any of our laptops or large screen TV on a cart that would be plugged into laptops, eliminate the need for the projector, which would be about $1,100. Total request is $30,000.
Hold on a minute, we jumping too much. A while ago, we was on the top one, $5,000. We hadn't even agreed on that until we done jumped down on something else. So let's quit jumping, settle one, and
I
then
thought-
move down.
I
Yeah,
thought we had settled it.
Well,
Sorry.
I hadn't heard anybody say which way to go, if we was gonna leave it at $5,000 or if we was gonna cut it or what, so we're gonna leave it at 5?
I'll
On
shake
line
yes.
539.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on line 539. I'll shake yes for 5.
Yeah.
I'm okay there, I think.
All right,
Yeah, consensus.
now let's move back down to the 30,000. So,
543.
you know,
Now, isn't the locks for the doors in there too? No? Yes?
So really, it's maybe not maintenance, it's kind of more repairs and
Yeah, I think it's.
So
the
keep-
description. It's really not, the description's probably not accurate, because you are correct that if we had $30,000 for maintenance staffing, that would be great.
Right.
But it sounds like it's.
So those numbers that you came out, 18,000 to 8,000, what were those for?
18,700 were for significant parking lot
Parking lot.
deterioration.
All right.
The other part of that 30,000 was the camera security system. And then $1,100 was the audio visual, which is, utilizing the group room with a TV that, like a smart TV, where they wouldn't need a projector, and because the projector they presently have does not work with their current laptops.
What about those TVs?
We put them up.
Oh, okay. So those TVs that were in the small conference room?
They're already mounted on the walls to
Okay.
utilize, then we're getting rid of that projector. So
Gotcha.
we're able to
Okay.
utilize that more, since that's our only conference room.
Good.
that camera security system, that's definitely needed over there.
Yeah.
Because they're out there by
Agreed.
themselves.
Yep. And that's
And what
what
was
she
price?
noted, so.
What price was that?
Actually,
Camera,
I'm sorry?
or the camera
She
quote?
already got quotes, yeah.
What price was that?
$8,380. There's 36 people working there, and sort of like you said, the fact that the building does not have on-site manager,
Yeah.
as county staff manages from here.
Yeah, I definitely think the security probably needs to be.
What about all the stuff that was in here? Where are the cameras?
May I? So we have an NVR system in here, a Honeywell system, and it is all of the domes that you
Yeah.
see right here. It is to my understanding that that system is not functional and/or has not functioned well. The NVR sits in this server rack. It is also hardwired through this entire building, and there's 2 brick walls. Also, the wiring that it is on is older coax cable, so typically not supported by
Gotcha.
newer things which run over Cat 5 or Cat 6
Gotcha.
cabling. I wrote both of the quotes that that you guys are discussing, the camera system and the TV. And the camera system was to tie into a existing piece of equipment that would help them bring their quote down that they got from another
Good.
vendor, and it would allow her to manage it from here, so she could figure out if there's someone sketchy at 3 a.m. She doesn't have to come from her house.
Got it.
So it really was kind of like the best price, and it probably has gone up a little bit in pricing, so we built in some wiggle to the actual quote itself, just in case we had to go the next level up or maybe get a couple less cameras at a higher price per camera.
Does that have a tie-in with the sheriff's department? Like, we got our panic buttons here.
That would be a different system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I believe that the system that is at the sheriff's office is through a completely separate vendor. And that would be something we could tie in at a future point, but it was not built into this.
No, okay. Because I think that would be something good they would have over there. Because, I don't know all the people over there, but, say if you had a domestic or whatever and
Sure.
stuff got hot,
And I can reach out to.
you don't have to go through everybody else to get
I
there.
just thought it was mowing, because it was maintenance.
Yeah, I can reach out to a vendor like Havrion or Axon or even Motorola, you know, for some of the more physical security. They tie into just about everything. They would rather you just be safe, but that was not a tie-in that I considered during the quote process.
So, and then the door knob, the door keys are included in that 30,000, right? The new locks?
I'm not aware of that.
Because I know it was there somewhere. I just want to make sure we're not, I mean, I'm okay with leaving line 543 at 30 for this year.
Since it's not mowing.
Yeah, since it's not mowing, and since it's also, some of this is one time.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, we're not gonna pave again.
Right.
Yes,
I believe it would be referencing to the EDA does have a maintenance reserve fund established for
Right.
replacement items, roof, HVAC, windows, doors, etc. And if I remember correctly, and I can revisit, I think
That's
that's
coming
something
out of
that
there.
Ladina, when she presented,
Yes.
she pulled up for that. I can revisit and make sure that that's accurate and ask her.
and I would also say, if you could, depending on that reserve fund, you know, if they can use some more of that reserve fund and not spend all 30. I mean, I know it's supposed to be a reserve fund, but, you know, parking lot reserve fund.
old's that parking lot?
It's the original, right? Hasn't been done, it's 11 years old.
11 years old.
If they have that savings though, that would be best to utilize their savings.
I don't think
Okay.
it's much, if I remember correctly.
Probably about like mine.
And that's a surface treated lot, right? That's just a surface treated lot, right?
Yeah, it's just.
Because they ain't no way they can asphalt it for.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct. It says patching, seal coating, crack filling, and striping. So yeah, you're absolutely correct.
I mean, it's a jump,
Yeah. But
I mean, we're
it's some serious one-time expenses
yeah,
that can't be,
but,
And there was also somebody there, if you remember, Ladina explaining who, in lieu of,
right, Circle T auctions.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, so
He had
in lieu
done-
of that, he did a lot of the,
yeah.
that kind of bush hogging and, you know, twice a year an exchange, and, you know, some of that stuff, and he's no longer there.
Right.
Mhm.
So that was a indirect savings, well,
Mhm.
outcome anyway.
Yeah.
If we let it get ahead of us, it's gonna cost us more to get it back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm okay with letting
Yeah.
it stay at 30,000. But I would like them to look at their, you know, maintenance reserve funds.
Okay.
It just depends how much is in it.
I
Yeah,
don't think it's much, if I remember.
25,000?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
I
wanna
think it was
delete it.
more for
Yeah.
minor, you know,
Right.
patching, you know, quick fix kind of stuff, not roofs or HVAC or anything like that.
Next.
You ready?
Hmm.
696. Green box site development. Right? Can we put all that on hold for a while we evaluate our green box situation?
Well,
I
green box.
I would not like to take that out of the budget, because I think we are moving in this direction, and we may move this year in this direction.
I think it'll be a huge, if we do that, that'll be a huge change. It's gonna be more than 50,000.
Oh, I agree.
And then can we put on hold the refuse containers? Are those the large roll-offs
Yeah.
that,
So,
right,
We got a pretty good waiting list on them roll-offs,
Yeah.
don't we?
yeah.
It's like a year and
because people
Yeah.
keep them and don't return them, but there are rental roll-offs available.
But we've discussed whether we want to get out of that business.
Right, that's what I'm
to begin
saying,
with.
so we could hold these, not make this purchase.
Of the 38,000 for
Is
the
that what
Yes.
this was to buy more
roll-offs.
roll-offs? Because there's a year and a half waiting list.
Mhm.
What
Because
do
that's the
we-
reason we keep ending up with so much darn junk in our green boxes.
Hey, what do we renting things for?
Nothing.
No,
Yeah.
what is it, it's $100 a month?
Yeah.
It's $100 a month, but to Mr. Bechtold's point, we don't put a cap on how long you can keep it. So we also have
that's-
some people who've kept them well
That's what
over
we
a
need
year.
to do. We need to put a cap on how long they're gonna keep them, you know, and if you go over that, then maybe you pay so much a day until you do get it.
Yeah. But if we're not gonna continue expanding this, I'd like to remove that.
I'd almost roll that into green box site development rather than remove it,
Right, yeah, but not purchase more roll-offs.
not at this point in time. But I wouldn't take out
What's your
38,000.
thoughts on the green box site development? Probably gonna need to look at something for the future.
You know, we done closed two in my district, and I'm still catching, you know, what
What was the
over
last?
that, you know.
Barberry?
Well,
Yeah,
so,
Barberry just, yeah.
yeah, so we've got word today that the folks on Barberry would like those removed.
See, that's what I mean, you know, that's the reason we're gonna have to start concentrating on cleaning up around these, improving the sites and everything, because that's what's killing us, you know. And if we get rid of them, it's gonna be that much more junk over the road, over the banks, everywhere else.
But
I've
people,
lived through that, and I don't wanna go back to
people are
that.
being so naughty, though. They're completely non-compliant with putting the stuff in the boxes.
That's been going on since I've been.
So it's
Yes.
not right to ask our solid waste crews to be picking up treadmills on the side of the green boxes.
Absolutely. It's just like I seen a thing on Facebook. Guy said he was gonna set 4 aluminum rims off down
Right,
here at,
right.
and I thought, I'd like to be a deputy and read
Yeah.
that. You know, because I'd be sitting there waiting for him to set them
Yeah,
out.
I mean, the
Yeah.
only way we'll fix the people
Yeah,
is enforcement and
Right.
education.
yeah.
That's-
And right
Otherwise, we ain't
now,
gonna we can fix bears easier than we fix people.
their selective enforcement fund is not paying anybody to go out there. That's one thing we need to do is put some money in that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then with the
Revenue.
fines and costs, keep
Revenue
it going.
fines
Yeah.
off of that.
Yeah,
And we need to look at that code again and see if we can't raise that $75 back up to where it pretty much used to be.
right.
Yeah.
See, at one time, it was $500 for,
So
Illegal.
if we don't use this $38,000 for refuse containers, could we use that for a part-time code enforcement officer?
no, because then you got all the training and everything you gotta go through. What we did there a year, we made a line item. And the fines and costs that was coming in went in that line item.
Right.
Then any officer that wanted to work, you know,
Extra.
after, you know,
Overtime?
yeah,
Okay.
he got paid out of that.
Right.
So
I mean,
think
man,
you're-
it was
That
working
would
good.
be,
Right,
you know, per se that.
Yeah.
That's where that,
right, right.
That's
that
where
line
was
item.
shown.
And I mean, we was getting some good charges there.
And we have somebody that would enforce the fines?
That's where we gotta get the judge to realize that
Right.
that's $75 first offense
we need Eric.
is not doing.
Yeah, we need
We
to,
need
Eric
Eric.
to have a conference with the judge.
Yeah,
Because we're gonna lose these green boxes.
But it's gonna be, yeah, it's,
but the thing about it is, we put it in our, thing, $75 first offense. We need to at least double that,
yes.
right.
you know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, well, I paid the $75, and then they
Yeah.
put all this junk in there, you
Yeah,
know.
it'd be like,
It's cheaper than going to the transfer station
Right.
and paying for tires.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think that 696 or 697, I mean, if anything, 697 roll-offs gets moved up into green box site development as a, I feel like that needs to be a place. I don't see how we can cut anything out of our green boxes. The refuse containers, the roll-offs, if we're gonna get out of the business of them, then let's take that 38,000 and move it into green box
I
site development.
hadn't heard about getting out of the business. Have we discussed that?
I don't know, I'm just thinking to myself, is it?
No, I mean, it hadn't been discussed that we're
No, no, no,
getting
no.
out of the business.
No,
you
but
know.
I mean, if
Um,
we're not enforcing a deadline, if we don't have enough to keep up demand, if there are so many commercial companies that are out there that can bring a green box to somebody's driveway, does it behoove the county to continue to be in this business?
How many roll-offs would that buy?
So there's
Sorry about that.
probably, there's around 20 total, but there's only slightly more than half of that that's being rented out. And some of the others are already being used out at the transfer station and some of those kind of things. So it's really 11 or so, 11, 12 is how many are available at $100 a month.
No, I mean, if we were buying them, how much would they cost us?
Well, the,
Because this
I
is
would
what
put
the
you-
3,800's for, I mean,
38,000.
38,000's for, right? Is buying them?
yes.
Okay.
So I don't know that we've, well, Mark may have priced it. I haven't looked at it recently, but the most recent bare boxes, so green box size, were $8,000 each.
So these probably run you about 10.
12.
Well, I don't know if they'd be as high as them bear boxes though, would they? Because they were open, they just,
Yeah,
Yeah,
No.
I don't know. We can look at that. If I might, the other thing I would throw into the kind of solid waste discussion is, we've had we have two folks that we think are probably, one is already put in their papers. We have another one that's out that we suspect won't be back. And so, in any case, if we continue to have the current green box system, we are already going to be hurting here within 2 weeks, trying to get all the green boxes we have picked up on a regular schedule. So, just so y'all are aware, and my suspicion is, Mark and I talked about this a little bit before the meeting, that, we don't pay the solid waste people a great deal of money. And so in order to fix the staffing issue, you would likely need to do something about that. I mean, you're paying people at the CDL around $15 an hour. So that's not market. So I don't know what the solution is, but just as you're thinking about where we're going on this, I wanted to put that in the mix.
so my thought is if we're shuffling money, it's gotta stay within,
Within departments?
I think this department, I don't see us being able to cut anything out of.
Right.
I really don't, because I think that this department is gonna start costing us even more money. And maybe not, maybe if we rethink, I think Joe, you had said,
That we all get
absolutely.
number one complaints on.
And I think that it's a matter of, after we finish with the budget, I think it's the first thing we start really
Working on it.
working on.
So do we think about maybe using some of this refuse container money for salary?
That could be something, but that's, that then says, are we, I don't know, I think it's a larger discussion.
Right, it is a larger
Yeah.
discussion, but is this a first step to solving some of these issues?
Yeah, it depends on if we're gonna stay in the business of roll-off containers.
I've only been on the wait list for 2.5 years for roll-off, so.
Right.
that's what I'm getting at,
For $100, or how much was
I just needed one.
but your fee for it is what? How
It's
much?
$100 a month.
Did you think about going to Waste Management or another company?
We bought a trailer.
What a trailer.
You did too.
So you took care of the problem by loading up the trailer and bringing it to the transfer station.
See, that's where that we're gonna have to start tightening up on the enforcement of that.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I don't know who does that, Mark or what?
Enforcement of the roll-offs?
Yeah, making them get them
There-
back.
We don't,
Well, there's nothing we can currently hang our hat on to say that they have to bring them back.
Well, that's where we need to have a meeting and have a discussion and a public
Yeah, that
hearing
needs to be
and put
done.
some teeth
be-
in that.
Needs to be done
Yeah.
quick.
well,
Yeah.
and that's, like I said, that's a,
Yeah, because there's a few things that can be discussed, like a.
So in
a
other
limit
words-
to, if you're gonna keep it more than, like you said, a daily rate or something like that, there could be an opportunity.
yeah.
There is
For some
no,
revenue.
there's no reason that they should have it more than a couple of weeks. You know, even if you're building a house, you know, they can run up there and empty it and pay another $100 if they want to.
Right.
You know, but, you know, we need to put some teeth in that and get some really strong enforcement of, you know. So we'll put that on one of our agendas when we get all this other mess taken.
Okay, we'll put, and maybe put the whole solid waste ordinance discussion on a future
Absolutely.
meeting
Right.
date.
Yes, please.
I've seen some of the emails, so I wanted to be sure to.
And if we need to, we'll get Eric in here on this, talking to the judge
Yeah.
and, you know, getting, because, you know, what started all was somebody cut up a swimming pool and put it in a green box.
At least they
Right.
cut it up.
When they got charged, the judge says, if it fits in the green box, it's household waste.
Right.
He dismissed it. I said- And, you know, they tried to argue it, but, you know, he said, you're going to have to redo your
So,
solid waste
let's-
ordinance.
Yep, let's sit down with
Yeah.
whoever we need
And
to.
so we did it,
redo
and then we passed it without realizing that the $75 wasn't enough.
No.
You know, so we just need to revisit that.
Do you-
So is if I might, is the consensus for now, at least, to leave the 78,000 in the solid waste budget, but potentially direct it in a slightly different direction than necessarily
It's
more
88,000.
refuse?
Yeah, it's actually 88.
Oh, okay, so you're adding both of those. The Green Box site development funds, what we have been using that for, just so you all know this year, has been, that's separate from the Indian Valley site, but it's also been like putting down gravel and some of those kind of things. And
Okay.
that's what I will also, when Mr. Angle gives me his bills, we'll go ahead and take some of that out of there,
Yeah.
those kind of things. So I will say that does seem to be working better over there, although he has shared with at least some of us that the frustration is becoming more human, so your two sites are becoming more similar.
And I've never understood why we separate out environmental fund and recycling from our solid waste. It seems to me
Right.
to be all
The same.
in one, and just as an aside, might be something to look at. Because it's all the same.
Really, the only difference is you don't have to have a CDL to drive some of the equipment. But
Yeah,
that's
but-
the only difference.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
can, to your point,
yeah.
um,
So that's just a thought, and it does say, the 30-yard roll-offs are the ones that people get in their yard. Is it 30 yards? Is it larger?
That's awful big, ain't it?
I'm sorry?
30 yards.
30 yards.
30
Yeah.
feet? It must be
Roll-off, 30 yard, 2 roll-offs for 30 yards. It says we have in the budget 15 grand. So that might answer the question about how much it
So it would be
costs.
four,
Yeah. But
potentially
boy,
four
30
roll-offs.
yards is awful big. I don't,
They're huge.
Yeah, they're big.
yeah, I know, but the ones I've seen didn't look that big, you know.
But anyway, so 30 yards, that's 15, so that's 7,500 apiece, so 38,000, yeah, exactly. Okay, just so we know.
I would be remiss if I did not remind you that it is now 6:15, and
Right.
your other meeting starts at 7.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you wanted us to find you all food, which it's Tuesday, so your
Subway.
options are thin, but it's up to you all what you want to do. But if you all wanted to
I
have
eat
food
before to
before
go,
you.
I came in, but they can go ahead, because I don't eat again till about 9, 10 o'clock at night, so.
9, you're gonna be home at 9?
Yeah, right. Well,
That's all I needed to hear.
I got a baseball bat out in the truck.
Grab me some.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go down to.
Jerry just texted me and he won't be able to make 7 o'clock either, so.
Okay. So we'll have a separate discussion about the health insurance. Okay.
Yeah, we'll.
I'll get in touch with him and, say Bill. And, try and get a hold of one of y'all to fill him in on this.
Sure.
I'd rather it for it to come from y'all. That's why we
Okay,
don't have no.
fair enough,
no,
fair enough.
I don't want to mess it up. So,
Would you entertain a motion to?
yeah, please,
Yeah. Entertain a motion to, I guess, essentially break or recess until 7
Yes.
o'clock?
just take a motion to recess till 7 o'clock.
I'll make that motion.
Or, see,
Wait a minute,
I
we have
gotta,
to adjourn out of this.
I
one?
gotta adjourn the
Yeah.
workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn the workshop till, Thursday at 5 PM?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. On the motion to adjourn the budget workshop until Thursday at 5 PM. Let's see, Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes.
Ms. Bechtold?
Yes.
Mr. Booth is not here, and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
All right, we stand adjourned.